Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the QLS channel. We are back for another game of the Rugby World Cup. Fiji taking on Georgia, what could be an extremely important fixture for the Fijians Rugby World Cup campaign. Looking through at the way that the table sits currently, we do know that the Welsh have qualified, sitting on the 14 points, but then the next two sides, Fiji and Australia. The Australians playing tomorrow up against Portugal, but if Fiji get themselves a win here with a bonus point, that will secure them their spot in the quarterfinals, and Australia will not be able to catch them. In Pool D, we just saw the Argentines get themselves a bonus point victory, so they are sitting in second place ahead of the Japanese. Those two sides play off next week. Looking through at the Fijian starting lineup for this match, relatively similar to the last contest for the Fijians, in which they did get themselves the victory over Australia. It is a Roni Maui at number 1, Sam Matavisi at 2, and Lutangi as the number 3. Nasilasila and Tarikata Vita will be the locking duo for Fiji in this contest, something they have consistently gone with throughout this Rugby World Cup alongside the Pacific Nations Cup as well. Lakema Tangi Valu will be at number 6. Lavani Botia, a man who was definitely a man of the match contender from their last contest, getting himself 3 turnovers, having 3 offloads, and also making the most tackles out of any player in that Fiji versus Wallabies game with 13. Viliami Mata, a dangerous ball runner at number 8 for Fiji. And I believe that in this 4-pack for the Fijians up against the Georgian pack, that's where this game's going to be decided. And then the Fijians, of course, we know the flair that they offer on the back line. Kuravuli at 9, having 100% kicking accuracy in the last contest. Tite Teller into 10. That was due to that injury of Caleb Munst early on before we got to see him in a Rugby World Cup game. Now gets the opportunity at 10. Tite Teller, Joshua Tuisova, he was the man of the match from the last contest, with Waisea Naifta-Levu on his outside at 13, who is captain for this game. Semi Radradra at 11. Celestino Ravatamanda out on the other wing, and Eliza Druasisi at number 15. Looking through at the chat, we have got Tosaviti from Nadro Bulavanaka. Says it was Nazi and also Caleb. It said Tosaviti there, Toso. Says Divisaurus, go Fiji. Says Robert Trajan's got the sunglasses and also sucks. The Fiji's games always take place around 3 a.m. every morning here in Fiji. Fiji better win this. If not, I'm going to feel like for the rest of the day, says Caleb. Yeah, very early morning start for the Fijian matchup. I'm wondering next week, I have got the schedule here. They got a decent hour game, or is it going to be once again a pretty rough one? I should mention as well, if the Fijians make it through to the quarterfinals, those games will either take place at 4 a.m. New Zealand time, or the other option is 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So hopefully they fall into that category and they do have that slightly later game. But next week, the Fijians, as you can see, they have got the 8 a.m. game. That will be up against the Portuguese, and by that stage, we will either know that the Fijians have qualified, in which case they will go with quite a different looking side for that match, or it could be the one that is the decider for the Fijians. Looking through at this Georgian lineup for themselves, they have also made 9 changes to the starting lineup, so a completely different outlook on this game compared to what we saw for the Fijians. Gigashvili still keeping his spot at number 3 alongside Nidiashvili, who is the captain at number 1. Zamtaradze comes into the starting lineup for this matchup. And I said I actually said in my preview, that he would be one of the key players. Also, Jalagunia makes his way to number 8 to open up the opportunity at 7 for another Georgian player. In the backline, Matkava alongside Lobhanidze at number 9. New midfield combo. Tabutsatse scored himself a try last week for the Georgians. Ninashvili transfers from fullback to that left wing, and Moribadze at the back. And I believe the reason for Ninashvili going out to that wing so that he has a little bit more of a chance of being attacking in this game rather than having to be back to cover those kicks. Instead, Moribadze will be able to cover that, and Ninashvili gets to show what he can do. Looking through at the chat once again, time means nothing to me anymore. So far, I've crossed 15 time zones during the World Cup, says Kerr. That must be a weird feeling, and you've probably been in about 10 or so different temperature groupings as well throughout that time. How you go from hot to cold to hot to cold. As long as you've got, I guess, your shorts and your tracksuit, should be all right. And I'm not Fijian, but go the Fijian brothers. Always support yous from Fiji, from Auckland cheering. Same here in New Zealand. says Trajan, and also let's go Fiji. Good game, gents, says Blues. Now, although something I will mention about New Zealand is they've been very lucky because all of their games have been early morning, 7 or 8 a.m. New Zealand time. Next World Cup times will suck for the rest of us, says 123MS. And also, let's go Fiji. Good game, gents, says Blues Nate. And then just when you think I can get some sleep, the Cricket World Cup starts in India. And hi, Hamish. Welcome back, everyone. Says Starl. I should mention that the kickoff for this game is around 20 minutes away, ladies and gents. But throughout that time in the build-up, we will be looking through at some key stats for this match, key players to watch out for, also the previous fixtures for these two sides. But first of all, looking through at the benches for the Fijians. Ikanaveri at number 16, Penny Ravai at 17, and Samu Tawake makes his way in at number 18. So that is rather than Masaki Donge, who is missing from this Fijian lineup. Timo Mainavanua keeps his spot at 19 with Albert Tuisui at 20, Frank Lamani 21, Vilamori Botitu 22, and Vinaya Habosi at number 23. So to be honest, for this Fijian side, Celestino Ravatamanda into the starting lineup rather than Jita Wanyolo, Samu Tawake into the side rather than Masaki Donge. The rest of this team is identical to what was able to beat Australia. So the Fijians, they are definitely not underestimating what Georgia can do here. So they want to make sure they're putting out their best side. And I believe at the moment they've found a very good balance of attack and defense with the men that they've got out there on the field. And I look forward to seeing what they can do. For the Georgians, Abuladze, he was in the starting lineup for the last match. Ivanishvili, number 20, he is a physical specimen, looking to add some real power later on in the game. And also Kakoidze, chance at 23 for him. New name for the Georgians. But do let me know your score predictions in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Do you feel the Fijians will be able to win it? And if so, will they receive the bonus point from this match? And if they do, that will confirm their spot in the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. What's going on with the Magpies? Hawke's Bay are winning the Ramfurly, and the Collywobbles Magpies wins the AFL finals. Says Blues Nate, and also the Fijian flags from Nadro there. Eva Fiji says Matilite, and I think the coach said Donge and Wanyolo are injured, and as pressure, says Caleb. So yeah, the fact that they've only had to make those changes due to injury and everyone else keeps that spot just tells pretty much everything for the Fijians. They back this side to be able to go out there and beat a majority of the teams, and I would say that this will be a very similar lineup to what we do see in the quarterfinals in that regard as well. And Fiji goes officially through today, and Australia exits World Cup in the group stage for the first time in their proud history. Historic day today, says Gary. And of course, last week, or the week prior, a historic win for the Fijians. We will look through at their previous fixtures, but that was the first time in 69 years that they were able to beat the Australians. That is more than, I guess, that's about 3 times my age for that. 69 years. That's a long time. And the Fijians able to get that win, 22 points to 15. Then the game up against Wales, they were defeated 32 points to 26, but I think that really lit the fire under the Fijians for this Rugby World Cup, gave them that little bit of adversity to fight through. And it does actually mean at the moment, the way that the tables are setting up, the Fijians, if they win this game with that bonus point, they will be playing England in the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. And we have already seen those two sides play this year. As you can see there, the Fijians getting themselves their first ever win over the English, 30 points to 22. The game prior to that, they did lose 34 points to 17 to the French. The earliest that they can find the French side in this World Cup is the semi-final. And then Fiji winning that game of the Pacific Nations Cup alongside every other contest that took place in that competition, going undefeated, looking very good. While doing it for the Georgians, they've had a little bit of a mixed bag. They did have themselves a draw in the last contest up against the Portuguese. 18-all was a last-minute thriller, a missed opportunity to win that game for them, but also missed opportunity for the Portuguese there as well. Then in the game up against Australia, they are the only side to have lost to Australia throughout this Rugby World Cup competition, 35 points to 15. They had their warm-up games for this World Cup up against Romania. USA, they were able to win those two, but then they were defeated by Scotland. And something that I've mentioned about Georgia throughout this Rugby World Cup, I feel like they haven't been clinical enough because they haven't scored as many tries as they need to. Walking away from this game with the loss, if they had the bonus point though for getting 4 or more tries, I feel like Georgia would still consider that as a mini win. But I mentioned about that Fiji-Portugal game that has taken place Monday next week, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. Fiji may have already qualified for the World Cup at that stage, but we will also be covering that game on the channel. For the Georgians next week, they have got their game at 2 a.m. up against the Welsh, and that will be the last game for the Georgians of the Rugby World Cup, but not for the Welsh. They will have their game more than likely at this stage up against Argentina, although Japan can also take that spot. We have got their Fiji by 25, says Kerr, and I think Fiji will be the winners. Can't think of a score though, it's sort of confusing. Says Stalin, nice, says Divisaurus, and 4 tries against the 2 tries. And straight into form again with the bro. Enunciation again, brilliant. Peace, respect that. Says Blues Nate. And is there any way Australia can qualify for the quarterfinals? Technically, yes. They could win their game up against Portugal, and then Fiji would have to lose to Georgia as well as Portugal without receiving 2 bonus points, I believe it is. That is the way that Australia can get through. So there's still that technical chance that they could, but if Fiji get themselves a couple of bonus points along the way, and one of those 2 wins, they still make their way through. So yeah, Fiji lose both of these 2 games, they will not make their way out of the group, but there's a very high chance that they do. Fiji play the opposite of how they used to play before. They start off slow and pick it up later on, whereas they'd start off strong and fall off later in the game. Says Caleb. And also Fiji 38-20 to the Georgians. Fiji will score 5 tries to the 2 of Georgia. Says Gary there. And also Fiji 42, Georgia 12. And hey, have you been surprised by the AB's massive win? I was surprised, but I don't think the All Blacks are quite where they want to be yet. I think that they can't get too over invested in that big win because they've still got some big games around the corner. Their next game is up against Uruguay. I believe we will see a similar scoreline to what we did see in that game up against the Italians. Maybe a little bit less in favour of the ABs, but it's that quarterfinal game where they will be going head-to-head more than likely with Ireland. That is going to be the massive decider. Thanks for the explanation, says Kwasi. No worries. And the end score will be... he will surprise everyone, says Stahlberger. In my original Rugby World Cup prediction, I actually said Fiji to win at 25 points to 22. So actually a relatively close game. If that was the case for the 2 sides, big love, Nazi Williams, how everyone's doing. Hopefully warm in New Zealand, says Blues Nate. We are currently sitting... Whoa. Okay, I was about to look over and I thought it was going to be like 3 degrees, but it actually says on my computer it is a record low for today, ladies and gentlemen, here in New Zealand, where I am. Anyway, I think we're sitting about 1 degree, if we're lucky. Temperature to break the record low for the 1st of October's in a few hours, they've said. So 2 degrees is the lowest ever recorded temperature, and that is what we're about to hit. So we're making history on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Someone needs to break 100, says Kern. We are slowly running out of opportunities for sides to be able to do so. Fiji versus the Georgians, of course, this game here. There's still one more later on today. That's not the right list. There we go. Get rid of that one. Where did my other one go? It's decided to disappear. We'll go like this. And like that. There we go. So, we've still got South Africa, Tonga, which could end up with the Springboks scoring relatively high points. Australia, Portugal, I think, will be closer. Scotland, Romania is the other game from this round that I believe has a chance of being relatively one-sided. They're just showing that Georgian back 3. All 3 of those individuals under the age of 27. So quite a young 3 at the back. Whereas you look at this Fijian side, some of those men in that back line, whether it's Radradra, whether it's Nayat Delivery, a lot of experience on their heads. Looking to wear down this Georgian outfit, sending some warmies your way, Hamish, says Blues Nate. And also we have there 10,000 people watching the Red Roses against Canada. See your women's situation? I don't think that would be the case. We're actually going to be covering some of the women's rugby on the channel in the near future, the WXV. As you guys will know, we covered the Women's World Cup on the channel. So we are also going to be covering some of the WXV when it does take place. Kia ora, Nate. Hope all is well. Yeah, warmish. I just got my pink G-string on at the moment. Says Nazi Williams, do you think Japan can beat Argentina next week? I think that they're more than capable of getting themselves a win there, and I think that game's going to go down to the wire. I hope that it is relatively even. Like, I don't want to see one side completely run away with it, although I do feel if someone was going to run away with it, it would be Argentina, whereas if Japan, when I see it being more of a build-up, methodical breakdown of Los Pumas, yeah, it will be interesting to see how it does end up going next week. That is one of the more important games that will be taking place in that round. Alongside that, Ireland versus Scotland could be absolutely crucial. It will be a playoff game if the South Africans are able to get themselves a massive win over Tonga. Fiji versus Portugal could be crucial if the Fijians did somehow lose this game to the Georgians here. France versus Italy, that's a playoff. So there's still plenty going on in the last round of the Rugby World Cup competition, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. They are just showing Joshua Tuisova. What he was able to do last week was absolutely phenomenal. Or sorry, the week prior, up against the Australians. I should mention the Fijians, they'll be relatively fresh here, seeing as they did have the last week off and a bit more time to recover. And I think that will heavily help them throughout this World Cup competition. We have got there, I hope we are not talking about snakes and scaves, says Jacqueline. And also you just opened the box, says Kerr. Yeah, no one had mentioned it as of yet, but now you are the first. Theoretically, if Scotland beat Ireland, will South Africa go out? Says Nelly, I believe, depending on the points differential, or sorry, not the points differential, depending on the bonus point scenario for South Africa, will depend on what we see in terms of who gets knocked out, because there is still a chance, theoretically, let's say South Africa receive the bonus point, they'll be on 15. They'll be top of the table after the 3 rounds. Then from there, Ireland versus Scotland. If Scotland also receive that bonus point, they will be on 10 compared to Ireland's 14. So if Scotland can win their game up against the Irish, they don't even need the bonus point because head-to-head fixture comes ahead of the points differential. If Scotland get themselves the win over the Irish, they will go ahead. And I should mention, even if Scotland just beat Romania without the bonus point, if they get the bonus point up against Ireland, that would still make them go through. So South Africa, if they get the bonus point up against Tonga, they are safe and they will be through to the next stage of the Rugby World Cup. Or will they? That's the other plot twist. South Africa and Ireland could end up on the same points, and then Scotland would go through, Ireland would also go through because of the technicality of the head-to-head between South Africa and Ireland. We've got Crazy Hot in Johannesburg, says Tatiana, and Scotland need to get the bonus point from Romania and then beat the Irish, and then South Africa go home, says Kerr there. And the I should be able to read that word, but my brain's gone blank. No, it's not working off. The draw obviously really helped. The initiation, there we go. It's hit me in the brain. Go Fiji, says Nazi Williams. What's your score prediction for this match? I mean, my original prediction before the Rugby World Cup was 25 points to 22. And I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think that the Fijians should be able to get themselves a little bit more of a win. Stop dreaming, says Benjamin. I wasn't dreaming. I was just telling you how the draw can set up. Of course, every result we have to look at as a possibility. Whether or not it happens, a different story. But that is the way that the points could end up going. That's just the scenario. It's the same with Fiji in here. If they don't get themselves a bonus point win, theoretically, Australia can still go through to the next stage. Whereas Fiji get themselves to 5 points, that will secure the deal, and they'll make their way through to the next stage. Eve was a lucky lady, says Kerr there. I hope. I'll be a new topic, says Jacqueline. And I also feel like Eve in the garden, so many snakes. I feel like you're the one bringing up the snakes at the moment, Jacqueline, rather than anyone else. And Johnny Dye's still the man, says Blues Nate, but the two sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel. Looking through at the starting lineup, for anyone who hasn't seen it, Ronnie Maui, Sam Matavesi, and Luke Tangi will be the front row for the Fijians, the same as what they did have in their last game up against the Wallabies, which they did find success. Ronnie Maui getting 2 turnovers won throughout the 80 minutes. Asoana Silasila at number 4, and Te Ihuaru for Rikadavita. The Fijians building consistency, and those two men both making 9 tackles in that last game. Up against the Aussies, Tangi Valu at number 6, Lavani Botia, a man of the match contender from that last contest. He is at number 7, and Viliami Mata, very physical, very exciting player to watch. He's off the back. At number 8, Kuravuli gets that spot. At number 9, once more, I have been calling for it all throughout 2023 to give him that opportunity. His kicking accuracy is what could easily win the Fijians this game. Tutetela at number 10, then Joshua Tuisova in the midfield alongside Waisia Nayatalevu. Tuisova, man of the match from that last game, also getting himself the lone try for the Fijians, or one of the 2 tries, for the Fijians in their last game. Semi Radradra, in fact, it was the only try. I'll correct myself. Once again, Semi Radradra out on that left wing, has been playing a little bit of the centres role throughout this Rugby World Cup, but instead will be on the left for this game. Celestino Ravatamanda on the right-hand side, and Eliza Drua Sisi to slot in at the back. So the only change in the starting lineup for the Fijians is Celestino Ravatamanda coming in for Gita Wainaniolo. Then for the Georgians, they have made 9 changes to their starting 15. Niriashvili will be the captain at number 1. Also, another change at number 2 was Zamtaradze coming into the starting lineup. Lophanidze at number 9 with Makava as the 10. Ninashvili transfers from fullback out to the left wing. Tapatzadze scored a try in the last game up against Portugal. He keeps his spot in the side, and Moribadze goes in at number 15. Looking through at the chat once more, we have got there every time. I sin, I blame Eve. Not my fault, it's hers. It's in our DNA, says Nazi. Also just joking, says Benjamin. And there's on Tosavititoso, says Matthew. And there's on Go Fiji Bulla Boys, says Akalisi, and Go Fiji. Kiwi and Brazil, says Native English. Would you prefer Maui or Tamefuna? I'm asking for my fantasy team, says Anelli. Is that for this week or next week? Anelli, I think that, to be honest, I would go with a Ronnie Maui, because his work in the breakdown, I think, puts him that little edge higher than Ben Tamefuna, although Ben Tamefuna at scrum time might go that little bit better, seeing as, oh, no, they're playing the South Africans. Never mind. Ronnie Maui every day of the week. If Georgia win Australia, have a lifeline, says John. I'm going for the upset tonight. Georgia, guys, please remember rugby is the winner at the end of the day. Says Cool Story Bro, and Go Fiji, says Josiah there. And hi, says Makala, and also a narwhal. It's an amazing creature, says Kira. Go Fiji, says Anjani. And there as well. But the Fijian national anthem, you can see how much it means to the players, because they know if they win this game with a bonus point, they are through to the quarterfinals to take on the English, in which they did beat them earlier on this year. The Fijians, they will be fired up. This is the bench that they have gone with Samu Tawaki, the only other change that the Fijians have made throughout their 23-man side, keeping Maya Navanua and also Tuisui as the replacements. And the forwards, Lamani Botitu and Vinaya Habosi, to add a little bit of late injection in the closing minutes of the game. For the Georgians, few players who were in the starting lineup for last week. Abaladze at number 17 will add quite a bit to the scrum, so I'm looking forward to seeing him and Tawake go head-to-head later on in the game. But also, Abrasidze, watch out for him throughout this game as well. But the Fijian national anthem has been sung. Same with the Georgians, and we are just about to go for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know in the chat, who do you believe will be the player who scores the first try? Any South Africans out there? Says Gert, not for this game, I don't believe. But we've got quite a few South Africans in the chat, so it is greatly appreciated. You guys all bear near. This game will be tight, but Go Fiji, says Motu, and watch the space, Georgia to win. Says Tucker, and maybe I'll go with Georgia this time, only because of their amazing grapes. And grapes equals wine, says Jacqueline. Fijians, they will be fired up here. Looks like a beautiful afternoon in France once more. I watch the space, Georgia will win. Says Tucker, are you afraid to say my name? Mornay, says Mornay, no. Why would I be afraid? I've said it like 100 times over the last weekend. Where was your last one? Did I miss a message from you? No, I didn't. Never mind. And I was like, oh, Jackie, says Motu and a sea unicorn. Says Girl, I've recently become a South African. Says Cool Story Bro. Yeah, for this game, first try scorer, Tui Sova, of course, will have a good crack, but I believe he'll be the man who hits the ball up for then the Fijians to fire it out the back line. And I actually think it's going to be Waisianaia Levu this time, who gets himself the try. Say my name. Says Trajan, you will score. Says Gert, only if I'm lucky. But first half just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. We've just got the couple ads before it goes into it. This game is going to be an entertaining one. Also, let me know your score predictions in the chat. I originally went with 25 points to 22. And I'm wondering whether or not that may not be a mile in the wrong direction. I know that I said the Fijians might have that bit more of an edge, so I might say 35 points to 22. I'd like to see the Fijians get themselves the bonus point, and I believe they will be aggressive in this contest to try and get that. I love your commentary. Why aren't you on the major media outlets? Says Tucker. They probably don't know I exist, to be honest. And if they did, they probably think of me as that guy who weird and does YouTube, so they wouldn't want me. Who's the referee for this match? Says Mornay Lagrange. One moment. We'll go like this. Like this. And we will soon find out. Matches. I think I saw who it was earlier on in the week, but there's been many games that I keep getting myself confused. But for this game, match details, it is Carl Dixon in charge of this one. Jaco Piper and Pierre Brousset as his assistants, and then Tom Foley will be the TV match official. Fiji have a foot in the quarterfinals, so that will be determined, says John. And also we have got there, I'm going to say 1 yellow and 1 red card for this one. Says Kerr. And Gert's one is high. Says Grant there as well. But we are just about underway for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia will be kicking off to the Fijians. What promises to be an entertaining game. Turned off live ITV commentary and got you playing instead, bud. Says Kiwi Media. It is greatly appreciated you being here. I will try my best to help sync up the time as well if you do want to do that. Anyone who is tuning in, Georgians just about to get this game underway. 1 degree is low for Christchurch on the 1st of October. Global warming doesn't look like it. New Zealand, of course, varies considerably. And weather depending location, 34 to 48 degrees, says Stephen. And also 34 for Fiji, 15 for the Georgian, says Matthew, and Fiji, says Nate. So Georgia now kicking off left to right. And we are underway, ladies and gentlemen, for a quarterfinal decider for the Flying Fijians. Kicked into their 22. Ball's gone through the hands of Viliami Mata, but it's gone backwards. So Fiji still hang on to the ball. But that is not a kind of mistake you want to be making at the very early stages of this contest. Volley now rolling it back. Inside of the 22, puts it up high. Celestino Ravatamunda chasing after this one, but it does go into touch. And now Georgia will have themselves the line out. Your pronunciation of the Fijian names are very impressive, says Tucker. Thank you very much, mate. Howdy, hey, y'all. Go Fiji, says Grumless. Welcome in, Katie. You are excited for the rugby. We've also got Scotland, Romania just around the corner as well. 3 games back to back to back. Going to be a very exciting day. Cool story, bro. Has said play a ball, and we need some close games again. There have been too many thrashings the last few games, says John. Yeah, 2 of the games so far this round have been extremely one-sided. Now Georgia taking this one just inside of Fijian territory. Gigashvili charging at the line now. The little kick in behind from Lubhanidze. And it's taken inside of the 22 by the number 15, Eliza Droasisi. Slowing down the game. Now we'll put on the big boot. Queen Katie has blessed us. Says it was there from Gareth, and also howdy long time, says Kerr. And beautiful Pacific Ocean views. That's something Georgia don't have, says Blues Nate. Now Georgia kicking it high from the halfway line. That was Matkava. Waiting eagerly for this was Waisia Nyafalevu just inside of Fijians 22 here. Kicking it in behind, and it's going to be an awkward rolling one, but cleaned up by Matkava, who now goes on the outside to the man at number 15 who did come into the starting lineup alongside 8 others. Moribadze. Now Georgia with the possession 40 metres out from the line. Gigashvili, the second carry already in the first 2 minutes. Matkava, nice short offload for Fiji. Sorry, for Georgia. Decent tackling so far. Aroni Maui, the man who made that one. Now going off to the right-hand side, linking up nicely here for the Georgians. Quick hands, Gigashvili. Now it's going to be Moribadze. No, in fact, it's instead Abutzadze, I should say, or Tabutzadze, I should say. Almost the chance for Georgia early on in the corner. Don't forget to get a like, guys. It's like a small donation, says Star. And yes, Scotland versus Romania after this, and Samoa and Tonga should have their own club in Super Rugby. Maybe it will help with their national team like Fiji, says Moto. I think it will be a little bit of a slower development for them, mainly because of the lack of player pool that they have got theoretically currently for Super Rugby. But as that team gets stronger in Super Rugby Pacific, they may look to branch out into 2 teams rather than just the one. But the Fijian draw, they are blessed with the amount of players that they can select from, whereas quite a few of these Tongan players, as well as Samoans, do play overseas. The likes of Stephen Luatua, Charles Piatau, Malakai Fekatoa, back for the Samoans, Charlie Famawina, so they might struggle to get together a competitive side that they can put into the match. But Kuravuli, 5 metres out from the line now for Fiji. Their own scrum. And we'll look for the clearing kick here, although they don't have to. The penalty has gone the way of the Flying Fijians. Have you been sleeping, Hamish? It doesn't seem like it, says GT. I have not, no. Over the last 3 nights, in total, I've had 10 hours sleep, I believe, or somewhere around there. Last night I managed 3 hours. The night before that I managed 2 hours. That kick hasn't found touch from the Fijians. Early mistake. Nice attacking run from Moribadze again. Derejonia. Looks like Fiji give away the penalty this time. Player. No clear release from Lavani Botia. He said, I went like this. Referee says no, and now Georgia will be able to add the early 3 points in this game. Hey, my sweet brothers, big love, y'all. says, it was there from Scrum Lance, and I, Hamish, your pronunciation is on point to the extent that I would think you would sound plausible in Afrikaans, says Landy Bear. Yeah, I've still got a few more words to learn in Afrikaans before I can be doing any sort of proper commentary in it, but it would be kind of cool one day. Just whip out a few sentences in Afrikaans. Lining up this kick. Will be Matkava, and Hamish currently running on cough syrup and Kit Kats, says Kerr. I feel like if I was ever to release a rap album, that would be what I'd call it. Cough syrup and Kit Kats. Probably couldn't because of copyright. Try Time, says Danston. There's a disappointing start for Fiji, says Fiji Island. They've just been under quite a bit of pressure at the moment. The Georgian kick has gone over, and that will now, after 2 minutes, make the score 3 points to 0 in favour of the underdog. You must be pleased about the AB's performance yesterday, Hamish, says Victor. I'm impressed that they actually, they played a lot better, and it seemed like they were starting to find form now. We have to wait till, of course, those quarterfinals to find out if they actually have, but there were promising signs for them. There were less penalties, less dropping of the ball as well. Fiji wins, they probably will face England in the quarters, says George. Certainly well on what you can speak it. Colour me surprised, says Landy Bear. Only like two or three words though. Not a huge amount. Like Yao Lekker Ding and also Baya Donkey. That's about all I've got. And Lekker as well. Now Viliami Mata, ball goes through his hands once more. Ninashvili now charging out to the 22. That is two early mistakes from Viliami Mata, and both of which have ended up costing the Fijians the ball. Now Giashvili again moving up to 22 metres out. Georgia starting this game with a frantic pace. Fiji with Tuisova. He's over the ball and he wins the penalty for the Flying Fijians. Did you learn pick my most beautiful side in Afrikaans yet? In front of the camera. You should know that phrase, says Kerr. Not yet. That's quite a hard sentence, isn't it? But we'll have to work on it. Cook that one up, Hamish. My bad, mate. The Cape Red. And also Yao Lekker Ding, says Jacqueline, and Baya Donkey, well done, says Landy Bear. And I think the boys have had too much cover on their week off, says Fiji Islander. Shame everyone can say that, says Jacqueline. Ninashvili doing very decently throughout the early stages out on that left wing. The reason that I believe they've got him on the wing for this game was to give him more attacking opportunities, and he has already had a couple throughout the early stages of this match. Fiji under a lot of pressure once again. Georgia end up with the ball after the loose line out from the Fijians. I did actually say in my prediction for the Fijian side, I would have gone with Ikanaviri as the line out option rather than Sam Matavisi here, but they have stuck with Matavisi. His lineouts were a bit shaky in the last game. Gigashvili again with another carry. Back off to the left-hand side here for Georgia. Fiji defending just on their 22-metre line. It's an easy one to learn, says Kerr. For a guy that has had bugger all sleep, you're on point, says Tucker. I think I'm very lucky because normally when I'm sleep deprived, I can't put a sentence together, but luckily so far, my brain's slightly working still. Oh, big shot from Simi Radradra on, I believe it was Kavizlade. Ladze, I should say. Now, that's just a hard name. That's not because of the sleep deprivation. Now, back across to the left again. Georgia building some nice phases here up to 10. Now, to the right-hand side, Matkava, Ninashvili, skip past now, going to the outside centre on the short side. Radradra helps stop that tackle alongside Eliza Droasisi. And this has to wear down on the Fijian stamina early in the game. Luckily, this isn't happening in week number 1 because those games were played in extremely hot conditions. Now, after the left-hand side, Georgia, they went with the inside ball. Outside, they would have scored. But inside ball, Ninashvili puts it down. That brain is functioning on muscle memory only now, says Landy Bear. And hey, how you been, mate? Says Ashley, you're doing all right, doing well. Been pretty good as well. This week has been flying by. Going Irish, there was another Afrikaans phase as well. Says John, it's probably me getting sworn at because I've had that quite a bit on these live streams. And also, we have got there something from Cool Story Bro. Is that who's got the ball and stop giving away the ball? Something like that. I'm here for the day. Going to do all the games. Irish and Georgia. I watched New Zealand and Italy yesterday with my mum. So today I'm spending rugby time with my lads, says Scrum Lass. You must remember Afrikaans is a fascinating language to speak. Says Morne and good morning. Is Goe More. Good evening is Goe Nand And Tutsis is goodbye. Is that correct? Hopefully I've said those not too badly. Georgia sounding the more dangerous of the two at the moment. Exactly right. They've had probably 90% of the possession, putting a huge amount of pressure on Fiji just inside of their 22. Although now Fiji have got themselves a scrum, which they did win a scrum penalty earlier on in this game. That is where I do give them that little bit of an advantage. I've got there, Fiji can't let us today, says Rudy. Now Simeone Kuravuli, big push this time from the Georgians. There's no penalty advantage. Now it becomes the penalty for Fiji. We have got there, what is the score now? Says it was Tasiuta. At the moment, after 10 minutes, it is sitting as 3-0 for Georgia. And Fiji have not been out of their own 22 pretty much throughout this whole game at this point. Sleep deprived, eloquent, respect, says Nicholas Woodward, or Woodward in there. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Yeah, thank you very much for being there, mate. And hi, Veronica, again, thanks again. Oh, sorry, it says Verona. I always call you Veronica the first time round, don't I? And then I switch it. And Flip, there is a lot of Afrikaans people in this because Guru, it's live. Says Ashley, and Fiji can't let us down today. Now it's overthrown again from Fiji. That's 2 lineouts in a row that they've got wrong. And Georgia again have got themselves another attacking chance. Going off to the left-hand side. Lopanidze. Back shot from Tuisova. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was instead Luke Tangi, who looks like he might have injured himself. But Sam Matavesi has got the ball back now for Fiji, who have to kick it downfield from inside of their 22. Rushing back was Ninashvili, but Makava, the man who cleans it up, didn't decide to offload. And now Celestino Ravatamanda drives them even further back towards their 22. Big pressure from the Flying Fijians as the crowd get behind them, but Georgia managed to keep that ball inside of their breakdown. Please, Fiji, says Explore with Harold. Great start from Georgia, says Jacobus. Exactly right. And Fiji seems nervous, says Ronald. And come on, Georgia, says Spider Mick. Now, like it is now Lobhanznidze inside of his 22. We're seeing Georgia make 2 tackles at this point of the match compared to the 39 that Fiji have had to make. But we do see an injury there by the looks of it for one of the Georgian players who was flat on his back in a T-pose. So hopefully he is going to be all right. Might be some sort of neck injury that he has received here. Phrase for you to know, normally said by models. You spend plenty of time in front of the camera too. Says Kerr. Here's my moisture. See, that sounds dodgy, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. So 77-16, just watch your box prediction. Should be good. Gonna miss it as I'm driving to the coast. I'll get the highlights, says Dan. Yeah, I feel like the Springboks, they'll look at that game as a really good chance of upping that momentum as they head towards those quarterfinals, because we've got to remember they aren't playing next week. They have played all of their games once that Tongan game has taken place. So they'll want to end it with a bang and a big win in their favour. Yes, every time, but no matter, Verona. And also, Fijians are awesome. Georgians are tough. This will be a good game, says Calmac. And I think it's going to be a closer game than first anticipated for a lot of people. I did predict 25 points to 22. Then I gave an extra 10 points in favour of the Fijians. Moister than an oyster, says VG man. It sounds very dodgy, says Kerr. And box 100 Tongan nil, says Gary. I guess it's because of their amazing grapes. Well done, Georgia, says Jacqueline. Currently, we have got a Georgian player down. It looked like a neck injury, but he has got back up to his feet. It is actually Tengiz Zamtaradze, the man who came into the starting side. I think he's frustrated. He was swearing there. Does that mean he's going to have to go off the field? It'd be a big shame for him because he has only just made his way out there. Yeah, looks like he's holding his wrist or his arm. So now it's going to be Noradze to make his way. Oh, it's a big shot coming in from Luke Tangi. A universal cricket language. Then how's that? Says Landy Bear, and rugby commentary and language lessons in one. Awesome, says GT. And good to see the number of your followers is growing. Says Gary Smith. Yeah, the amount of support that we've had throughout this Rugby World Cup has been absolutely huge. And it is greatly appreciated. Third time Fiji have got their line out wrong, but this time, luckily for them, it sits up in their favour. They have got the knock-on advantage now. Kuravuli going off to Isoa Nasilasila. Made 9 tackles in the last contest alongside his locking teammate, Antiahuaru Rekadavita. Now Waisia Noeta Levu making his way up to the 40. Meters out, almost a knock on the ground there from Simeone Kuravuli. The ball's still available for the Flying Fijians. Tete Teller going off to Sam Matavisi, and I can see this rush defence from the Georgians is already starting to have a bit of an impact here. But loose from Fiji. They will go back for the original penalty. And that was against Georgia in the breakdown. Georgia beat Wales last year. Also have been in Tonga, Samoa and Italy in the past, says Motu, and they have also drawn with Fiji in their most recent fixture against each other, I believe. It looks like Fiji will be taking on the 3 points here, their first chance. Get any sort of points on the board. Now, Fiji's supposed to be good, says Stalberger. We are still very early on in this game, though. We've got to remember, at the end of the day, Georgia are one of those sides that are definitely known for starting a match well, but normally in the second half is when they do tire and when they start to slow down. Can't believe Faf is out the rest of the Rugby World Cup. Says Kerr there. Is that actually, so it's now been confirmed, has it? Because I know that someone mentioned about it earlier on, and we weren't sure whether or not to believe them. Have a quick look. See what I can find. Is he out? I've just looked it up on Google and it still doesn't have anything about him. But, don't know. A broken wrist wouldn't have stopped me from continuing to play, says VG Man. Where can I watch ESPN? Says Primo. I know that on the Rugby World Cup website, they have the options of where you can watch depending on whereabouts you are in the world. So I would recommend checking that out. Now 14 minutes into this game, and Kuravuli has missed away to the right-hand side as well, I should mention. So it means that there is going to be score remaining at 0. And I also know that's why I can't believe it. Says Kerr. True, yeah. We get quite a few people saying about injuries on these streams, don't we? Who was the, oh no, they said that Faf de Klerk had got into a fight. And I think that was on April Fools that they said. Now, big tap taken by Luke Tangi, deciding he wanted to take it quickly, but then lost the ball out the side of the breakdown. Georgia now sending this ball out wide. Tabatsadze, man who did score in the last game for the Georgians up against Portugal as an American Polynesian in SoCal. Who wants to learn more about the game of rugby? I'm learning well from you, sir, says Tucker. Yeah, hopefully we can teach you a few things along the way. That is going to be a penalty to Fiji for not releasing, I think that's a Ronnie Maui. No, it's Lavani Botia who manages to get that turnover. And if Georgia wins this, Australia still have a chance to make the quarterfinal. They certainly do. If Fiji lose both this game and the game up against Portugal, they will miss out on the quarters. If they still win their game up against Portugal with a bonus point, that would actually give them enough to make it through to the quarterfinals as well. Should I be worried? Says Fiji Islander. I mean, in the breakdown, Fiji have been strong throughout this game. It's just been that lack of position, and the line out has been shocking. I think they're 0 from 3 at the moment in terms of those numbers. Sam Matavesi just not quite getting it correct as of yet. Try to pronounce, that is a very long name. I actually believe there is a small town with that name in South Africa, says Gary Smith. Now 10 metres out from the try line, Kuravuli going off to the right-hand side to Lakima Tangi Valu. I don't know about that name, but I know the brand, he says Gareth. Also in the Silla, good solid contact made by the Georgian defence. Here comes Tuisova. They try and hold him up, but he is wrestled down by his opposite number. Kuravuli back across to the left-hand side, looping around there was Tete Teller. Finds the ball up to Viliami Mata. Oh, we got to stop it here. There's a player, serious injury. I have to stop. And it looks like a Georgian player that is now the second Georgian to drop. Oh, they're saying, okay, it's a serious injury. Looks like something in the leg. And unfortunately, that might be about a 90, sorry, not a 90, but a 9-month injury, depending on how serious it is. They're cutting his sock off, I think, so that they can see the wound. You're doing great with the Fijian names, says Explore with Harold. Thank you very much. And I'm also going to throw in some Scottish for you to learn as well. Mudden. I can't even, that was almost more of an Indian accent than a Scottish one, wasn't it? Isn't it weird how you can't think of what a Scottish person sounds like unless you hear a Scottish person? He's actually Scottish, the guy on the commentary. That wasn't my Scottish accent, by the way. That was me slightly picking up. Madain Mach. Is it that Mach? Is that the second word, or is it might have more syllables or more oomph in it? And gives a squiz. Hammy. Uh-oh. Yeah, the knee of the Georgian player. Oh, the ankle's got to be broken at this point. The way that he fell, he had like 2 or 3 players landing on him as well. After Clerk gets Pichikini fine, he delivers pizzas to my house. Business as usual, says Crumless. And pronounced Maitin Va. Well, I wouldn't have got that. I can tell you that right now. How is that pronounced Maitin or Maitin Va? Okay, there's like 7 different letters compared to that second one. How late is it in New Zealand? Says Cool Story Bro. We're currently sitting 5:05 a.m. here in New Zealand, so I believe it's a similar time in Fiji as well. So it is hugely appreciated, everyone who has stayed up in the middle of the night to watch these games as they take place. Currently 62% in favour of the Georgians. Do you know I now man that's sick? Says Kiwi Media and Cool Story Correct English. What time it is? Says it was there from Stan. Say Scottish, and you'll get the idea. Says Robin. Our player lifted up onto the stretcher. The good news for him, well, if there is any good news in this injury, is the fact that because he didn't get knocked out or anything along those lines, they didn't take as long to be able to move him up onto the stretcher, so he'll be able to get off the field and get some medical attention that he'll need. But yeah, it looked like the knee and also the ankle just twisted the completely wrong way. Okay, for that injury, going to teach you to say ouch. Afrikaans is ina, pronounced aina. And there says Alandi Bear and ouch, replace and get back on with it, says Jacobus. Although it's already the second injury for Georgia throughout this game. So the fact that they made 9 changes in their starting lineup and now they've already had to make those extra 2, it's quite a concerning sign for the Georgians, because we talked about how quick they start a game, how they are normally the more dangerous side in the early stages of their fixture, and then as the match wears on, that's when the opposition start to find their momentum. And with Georgia not having as many men off the bench late, that could end up playing a big factor. Correct English can be subjective depending. Our just got to... yeah. Language is a fun, says Kerr. Now the scrum feed for the Fijians, for the Amimata takes it off the back, goes to Kuravuli, inside ball to Tuisova, who does drop the ball. Frustration being shown now on the faces of the Fijian players, as that is about their 4th handling error in this contest as well. Well, in fact, they have got 2 handling errors, but I believe that was before Tuisova did drop that ball. I can tell the difference between, well, I can't tell the difference between Welsh, Scottish, and Irish accents. It's like I don't know if I'm walking past Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. Woo, says Ric Flair. No, his ankle is okay. Give him the gas and the air. Says scrum, that's nice run forward from Sadastina. Ravatamanda, tackle attempt a little bit too high. On I see a Naita Levu. Now Teller slings it across to a Ronnie Maui. The ball pops out the back, but he has managed to hang on to it. Now Teller looks for his offload. Goes to Matavesi off to Luke Tangi. That man is playing like he's in the centres. He tried to pop that ball up. Rara slaps it back into the field of play. Now Eliza Druasisi trying to find a gap, but he's tackled by Moribadsi. His opposite number who gets over the ball and wins the penalty for Georgia. In the breakdown, Georgia are trying to fight back here quite nicely throughout the first 18 minutes or so. I would say whoever can play their first XV against Tonga, I hope not, says Motu. They've got a little bit of a combination. So of that first team that I believe they will be using in their quarterfinals, they've got Eben Etzebeth in that starting lineup, Dwayne Vermeulen, Jesper Visa Sikalisi. And then in the back line, they have gone with Hondre Pollard at 10. They've got the midfield combination of Estes and Moody, which will be interesting. See how they go, and then Vili LaRue at the back alongside Makazole Mapimpi and also Grant Williams. I believe it's playing to my 5-year-old. You don't live in the future. She can't understand it's Sunday where you are, says Rudy. So yeah, we pretty much time travel here in New Zealand, and it looks like it's going to be a relatively nice day where you are. So that's good news. Okay, what is something you can teach us from good old New Zealand slang we would not necessarily know? Well, if you don't know how to answer a question, that's yes or no. If you want a bit more time, you just say yeah, nah, because that doesn't tell anyone anything. But that's what we say here in New Zealand. That kick is beautiful from Georgia, from inside of their own half, nailing the shot and now making the score 6-0 in favour of the Georgians. Scottish people don't drink water, says Kerr, and shot we're 1/4 of the way through and Fiji not opened on the board, says Kerr there as well. Great commentary, says Jacobus. Thank you very much, mate. You need the facial expression when saying Aina in Afrikaans, it means pain in any way. I think Fiji score, they are going to run away with the game. And Hamish says, Chris, welcome in, mate, once again. So like Aussie man, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So you just say, yeah. And then it confuses people, but they eventually know what you mean when you start going somewhere. Like if you're like, oh, you want to go to Macca's? And they're like, yeah. And then if you head to Macca's, that meant yeah. If you don't go to Macca's, that meant nah. Macca's is McDonald's as well. I just realized that's also a little bit of a Kiwi thing. Oh yeah, I've got there also like Aussie man, and also Hamish, do you ever roll back on these chats after the game? It's funny, says Stan. I do sometimes when the chat's going too quick for me to be able to read all the messages. I do like to go back and make sure that I haven't missed too many of them. So anyone who thinks they're sneaking a message through, sometimes you are not. I do see it. It stays up here. I'm very Afrikaans. People think I'm an Aussie, especially the British. Weird. My favourite South African language thing is just now. Everything in life is just now, says Kerr. But now scrum feed for the Fijians inside of the Georgian 22. We are 20 minutes through this game. It has been absolutely flying. At the moment, we do the same, though. We say Yane and yes, no, says Yanni. Oh, sorry, says Landy. Nice and slowly down, says Carl Dixon. So we will have another reset. As the table would currently sit, Fiji would be there on 7 points. So they would receive the bonus point for being within 7. But of course, for them to be able to automatically qualify for the quarterfinals, they do need to win this game with a bonus point, which they will get from scoring 4 or more tries. At this point, though, they have not been able to cross the chalk as of yet. Moonstein says Ric Flair. And also not just now, but now, meaning a bit later on, says Charles. I think the key for Fiji here is just catching the ball. I know it sounds basic, but we've seen way too many handling errors so far throughout this first half. Going back across Kuravuli, now to Tuisova, Naya Thalevu, in fact it's Celestino, Ravatamunda, the one change in the starting lineup for the Fijians. Kuravuli now getting into that breakdown. That looked like offside for Georgia, and it was. So the referee gives the penalty advantage. Lavani Portia now getting within 2 metres. Kuravuli looking to his left, then the right, and then finds Semi Radrara. Right down 5 metres out for the line. New penalty advantage this time for not rolling away. Georgia's defence, they are normally relatively solid. Unless you get that line break, then that is where they do start to have a few more of those gaps. Women's Cambians sometimes are far better than men, says Desmond. And also we have got their scrum that's low, says Stan, now only a couple metres out. Now Silla up to 7 phases now for the Fijians. New advantage. That is 3 in a row. Tuisova getting close. In fact, it's Tite Teller. Looked like a 4 pass from Radradra, so they may have to check that one. Georgians getting into the ball, and they will go back for the original penalty. Now, I'd love to see the Fijians go for this one rather than taking on the 3 points, even though it would make more sense to go for 3 right out in front of the post. I'd love to see them go a bit more aggressive, although I don't think they will. And I just quickly say, Vutsix, says Ashley, and also come on, Bullis, says Kapo. And there are Tite Teller getting extremely close to scoring the first try on Hospital Pass, says Jacobus. Now Fiji, it looks like they're going for the quick tap from 5 metres out from the line. Kuravoli takes the tap. They're not allowed to do what they just did, though. Unfortunately, when you have a player stepping up to the ball, they have to be the player who does take the tap. And Georgia can't come off the line, they've also said. So pretty much the gist of what happened there is Fiji were going to go with a quick tap. They ran backwards, and then another player came up and tapped it. So I believe that caused Georgia to go early, which, I mean, it's a weird thing. We've had that happen a couple of the times throughout this World Cup, but I think it almost could have been play on. Short ball, the Tuisova runs into the brick wall of 3 Georgian players. Kuravoli, nice pass off to Luke Tangi. Knees chopped out from underneath him. Kuravoli's knocked the ball on just out from the line, and it's hurt the Fijians once more on attack. Go Fiji, go. Yes, Afrikaans is sassy though. Even English people switch to Afrikaans when they get angry and swear. And also we've got their Fiji giving us that rugby we all wanted to see, says Calamak, although just out from the try line. Luke Tangi almost got over. But, tell you what, Mutt Carver was the man who made that tackle there. rather than anyone else. He was willing to step up and say, you know what, it's a prop running at us, but we've got to stop him somehow. Sacrifice the body. Fiji giving us the rugby, and also I thought something like, if you says Rick. And also we have there, I definitely need to date a South African again, says Kerr. Now, 5 metres out from the line, Georgia have got themselves a scrum feed. I should mention we're already 24 minutes through this one, a punch in the face guaranteed. Says Robin, and also Fiji, come on brothers, and all this Afrikaans bringing back memories, says Kerr. Regards from Argentina, says N. As well, and congratulations to Argentina, of course, for getting that win over the Chileans. Now next week up against Japan, that will be the decider. Expect Fiji to maybe have 2 tries up, but obviously my expectations are too high for Fiji, says Fiji Islander. I think they just haven't quite played the way that a lot of people anticipated for this matchup. No one could have predicted the amount of drop balls that we have seen. Matkava kicking it from deep inside of his 22. Doesn't find touch. Here comes Eliza Drua-Sisi, starting to build up some steam, running straight at Tabudzadze, the man who was able to score in the Portuguese game. And at the moment, Georgia have been, I would say, almost the closest side to scoring, although Fiji had a very good opportunity not too long ago. Skip past there from Joshua Tuisova. Great hands from Waisia Nayatalevu, thrown into touch, though, by Georgia's defence. And it will once again be another line out for Georgia inside of their 22. And also come on Fiji. I got a tenner on Fiji, but I want Georgia to make a game here, says Calmac, and they are certainly doing just that. How many South Africans are on here? Are they no longer live in South Africa? Says Gary. This is a shadow of a team that played 2 weeks ago, says Fiji Islander, and you have to wonder whether or not having that week off has hurt the Fijians, because we need to mention this is the same Fijian side apart from Celestino Ravatamanda coming into the side for Gita Wainyolo. That is the only change that Fiji have made. Now Georgia, we're going to get this rolling ball going, although we do know Georgia are a quick starter. We got to remember that game up against Scotland. They were 6-0 up. They then went on to lose that game 33 points to 6, conceding a majority of those points in the second half. Kick has gone out from, it was Lobhanidze. And show what you're made of. Fiji can't wait for the rematch with England, says Robert Wood. And loving the fight, says Kelmac. So far, Fiji are more disappointing than the thread count on bed sheets and a budget hotel, says Kerr. I still live in South Africa. I have a cousin in New Zealand and one in Australia, says Landy Bear. Yes, we apologise. We South Africans have to be everywhere, says Jacqueline. And how about now? Simiradara, middle of the field. And I should mention that line out this time has worked out for the Fijians. Waisia Nayatalevu. So his first try scorer is still available in this game. Viliami Mata. 30 metres out, Kuravuli. Shifting it to the left. Goes up to Asoa Nasila. This Georgian defence, though, they haven't been missing too many tackles. And also, they haven't had to make too many throughout the early stages of the contest. So that means they shouldn't be too heavily fatigued. They are offside on this far side here, though. And Matkava, I feel like that should be a penalty advantage against him. I don't believe he got behind the hindmost foot. Volley. Ball comes out the back again here for Fiji. Another big run from Luke Tangi. Been throwing his body all over the place throughout this game. Kuravuli with the weak pass. Now big run from Te Ihoaru. Rikadavita. Slapped back by Kuravuli. It's a little bit scrappy at the moment for the Fijians. If they can find a little bit of structure in this backline, that is where they will find the success throughout this game. Kuravuli, another bounce pass to Eliza Drosesi. Kuravuli, once again going to this right-hand side. Celestino Ravatamanda having to pop that ball out the back due to that extra pressure that was being put on by the Georgian defence. The Fijians have got the penalty advantage. In fact, the knock-on advantage, I should say. And what headphones do you use, this girl? I have got some Audio Technica ones, I believe they are. They're just that one. I think they were like $60. I went with the slightly cheaper option, but they seem to work all right, which is good news. I also only have one ear on most of the time. I've never held a pro rugby ball. How big is it? Does hand size affect handling, causing handling errors? It doesn't really a huge amount. Like some players, if their hands are big enough, they'll be confident enough to hold the ball in one hand. But in this game, it just seems to be a little bit slippery out there, and both sides having the errors because of it. Lovely commentating for someone who is blind, says Kyrene. Thank you very much for tuning in to the commentary, and Ric Flair, nobody in South Africa will say, we're going in Afrikaans, you will lose all your friends. Says Staal. Yes, South African people are good. Any Braai. Says Landy Bear. Now 25 metres out for the line. Sam Matavisi, this time overthrown from Fiji once more. Matavisi getting it very wrong throughout this first half, because we've got to remember that is now about 5 times that the Fijians could have had an attack that they haven't been able to do so due to that line-out throw not being successful. Around the side of the breakdown here for Georgia, just building up a couple phases while they have got the knock-on advantage. Now, Labanidze going to be going back. Weird question, I know. Always wondered how comfortable they are as I wear headphones for long periods when flying. Says Kurt, they honestly aren't too bad. I think that's because my head's, like, it's a bit, like, upright. So I have to have them done right up or else then they don't fit. They just slide off my head. But, like, these ones overall, because I only have them on one ear, I guess, they probably aren't as tight as well. But the penalty this time goes the way of Georgia, and they will once again take on the 3 points. Ladies and gentlemen, Niashvili in charge of the kicking tee today. Fiji going to lose. And also I love a song called Afrikaan. Says Spider Meek. And earbuds the best when using for long periods, says Gary Smith. Although I've got these other headphones that are also, that are actually almost like earmuffs. And they go over your ears, like literally over, like you're wearing those earmuffs rather than on them. And they are very comfy. Although you do feel like your head's being squeezed after a while. Yes, your ears must be painful at times with all the hours of commentating, says Landy Bear. And Fiji not going to win if they continue to play like this. Any news on the injuries? He's given not at this stage. All I know is the 2 Georgian players, they both went off the field. And Ninashvili, he's got another kick over. Now making the score 9 points to 0 in favour of Georgia. The crowd are well and truly getting behind their side here. I'm curious to know what that does to the betting odds, because Fiji came in as heavy favourites into this contest. I believe Georgia were about $6 underdogs. Now for this game, the Fijians, they are still favourites. $2.70 Georgia are sitting as the underdog here. Like I said, Georgia taking points when available. Again, the Springboks get this fly half in their team. What a kick. Says Brandon Slater. Remember, I said Georgia to win, even though I'm rooting for Fiji, says Tucker. And hit the like and sub, rugby fans, show support. Says bystander. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. How overseas visitors went to back off when an Afrikaan says that, says Stan. Now Kuravuli going across to Celestino Ravatamunda. Fiji can get themselves a try before the end of the first half. I feel like that will drastically help their confidence going into the second 40. Sam Matavisi. It's that ball up now. Waisia Naeta Levu. Now Matavisi again. Tete Teller. Skip pass. Another bounce ball though. Botia on the outside to Celestino Ravatamunda, who has looked pretty impressive since making his way onto the field here, rather than Jita Wainanyola. Why is he just throwing that ball into touch? Okay, it's gone off the hand of a Georgian, so it is going to be a line-out throw now for Fiji. Testing out my block, says George. You certainly are not. I don't think you've said anything that would have got you blocked. Have you, George? Fiji too shy? Okay, never mind, says George. I got Georgia at €9.50 euro. Sorry, €9.50 euro, I should say, rather than dollar. That's true. Georgia was ahead for a while against Scotland, although the Scots side was a knock or a knack of playing catch-up footy. It's another knock-on from Fiji. Off the line out. Mistake being made, and with each error comes another opportunity for Georgia to try and get themselves a bit further ahead in this game. Is Fiji picked too soon versus England and Australia maybe? Well, I think that's the thing. They had their big game last week, or the week prior, sorry, and now it's almost the exact same lineup, but it's just not looked like the same Fiji inside. My message is not showing now, are they? Oh, now they are, says George. And also where to watch in Turkey. If you're on the Rugby World Cup website, it will show you your where to watch options, because sadly I'm not too sure about the provider in Turkey. But yeah, on that Rugby World Cup website, you'll be able to see your best bet of being able to watch it. And can someone translate Stan, please? I want to know what's so funny. Says Sir Michael, and also Fiji Rub Fingers. Says Spider-Man, and damn it, Fiji. Says Gareth, and I love this channel. Great work, says Casey. Thank you very much, mate. And all the mistaken, looks like Fiji didn't have breakfast, says Charles. Although it is evening over there. It's like 5:25 p.m. local time. Godzilla in attendance. They have just mentioned. I love Georgia. Much better tech system. Up and coming Rugby Nation and add a bonus. Says Peter Wild. Now feeding the ball in again for Georgia. 20 meters out from their line. Ball goes straight out the back for, it was Jalagona. Oh, and the halfback getting livid here for Georgia. Lovan Nidze felt he didn't have the cover that he required, and the ball has gone into touch. Another chance here for Fiji. Add line out time would be an interesting experiment if they allow teams to own the kick in their own 25s. Says Gary, yeah, it would be different tactics, of course, depending on what would happen there. I think that's honestly the only time that we see the Fijians really kicking this ball. Here's my scenario: Fiji to lose and Australia to win with a bonus point over Uruguay. Possibly putting Australia in the quarter, says Tucker. Although, of course, the next game is a very important one. Another mistake from Sam Matavesi. Line out not straight. In fact, they'll show on Ronnie Maui, but he had nothing to do with it. Sam Matavesi has had an absolute shocking performance so far. Never like a good breakfast to get you going. Lunch is optional. Says Charles, go Georgia. Fiji's discipline is going to become an issue. As the game progresses, says Kevin. Looks like at the moment some of the substitutes already starting to warm up. They look deflated, like they don't want to be there. Fling Hamish, I like friends, says Galmac. And also watching from Dublin Airport with a Guinness. Come on, Fiji, says Richard. And Stan Bolson, I did donate, you just missed it, as everyone else did, says Stahl. Is it possible for Georgia, if they win, to meet England in a quarterfinal? It actually is possible. If Georgia win their game next week up against Wales as well, and Fiji do lose to Portugal, Georgia can actually go through. Now, kick downfield from Ninashvili. Eliza Druasisi, inside of his 22, will kick that one into touch down towards the halfway line. Fiji so bad, says Mark. Yeah, it certainly hasn't been the same Fijian performance that we witnessed not too long ago. Looking at some of the stats, line-out time, so far Fiji have lost 4 of their own line-outs. And then that's not including the one that wasn't straight from Sam Matavesi. So that has been hurting them majorly. Georgia, they've had more position throughout this first half. Fiji are really going to flop this up. I mean, they do this every time. They play so well in some matches. People start thinking they're tier 1, and they play like this at other times, says Caleb Stefan. Yeah, I think a game that will be coming to mind for some Fijian supporters would be 2019 Rugby World Cup up against Uruguay. A game that Fiji looked like they should have for certain made their way through to the quarterfinals, and then it was that game that cost them. But there's still time left. They are down by 9, which sounds like a reasonable margin, but this Fijian side know how to fight when they need to. Ninashvili now on the ball up high. In fact, that time it was Matkaba. Nicely taken, Semi Radradra. The fullback's down as well for Georgia, which does give the Fijians the opportunity to go for a bit of a counter-attack here. Going to the short side off to Viliami Mata. Finds his offload away to Luke Tangi. That means they have more running meters than all of the backs, but then he offloads it. Gives it back to the Georgians, who kick it in behind. Fiji creating their own pressure at the moment. I see a Naeta Levu. Only 2 meters out from his line, so has to boot this one. Doesn't look like he's going to find touch with it. Ninashvili, nice footwork from him. Keep it in the field of play, hit hard by Celestino Ravatamanda for the corner. Lavani Botia makes the tackle though. And Georgia, they keep the ball in their hands. Moribadze stepping through. Fiji 20 meters out for their line, defending with everything they've got. Now, Ninashvili, spear tackled by Luke Tangi. Back into the pocket. Georgia for the drop kick. Is it going over? It is not. Misses away to the side. Fiji partying too hard. Says John, and subscribing and liking the channel is helping in a small way, guys. Not much, but it helps Amish and his partners. Says Star. So yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this game. We have still got another one taking place a little bit later on tonight. That is going to be the matchup taking place between Scotland and also Romania. Your commentary is brilliant, says Derek. Thank you very much. We have good day, Hamish. My 8-year-old just asked if you are Mr. Beast. says Russian. I've actually had that comparison before, believe it or not, but no, I'm not. Not quite. If I had as much money as Mr. Beast has, I would have bought the licensing so that I could show the game on YouTube. Fiji Big Chokers, then Arsenal Football Club. And shocking, says Fiji, and that could be Fiji's game plan, says Desmond. Now, Simeon Radra taking it, tackled there by Tabudzadze. Going to the short side, another drop ball, but it's gone backwards for Fiji, so it is play on. Tiawaru Rikadavita, ball stripped from him. Now Georgia going off to the left-hand side. Another attacking opportunity. Sling and pass will go into touch though. And Ninashvili not quite able to regather. Georgia playing like it's the final. Says Matt, you're absolutely right, buddy. Fiji would have to lose to Portugal. And this one for Australia to advance, very unlikely. And control the ball and play by the book numbers matter, says Charles. And Fiji showing its true colours. Basic errors will cost them this game, says Timothy. And I'll say enterprising game by Georgia, says Jacobus. And Scotland-Romania is going to be a mismatch. Yeah, it's looking like it should be relatively one-sided in favour of the Scottish for that one, but you never know. Hopefully Romania put in a decent showing. They match Naita Levu now. Penalty advantage. Nice offload to Eliza Druasisi. This is their chance. Backs his pace, but brilliant low tackle made by Ninashvili, who was actually back covering as if he was their fullback. Knock on this time from the Fijians. Advantage over 3 Georgians chasing after it, including, it's Lubert Hanse. It's bounced up to Ninashvili. Finds the offload away. Georgia 10 metres out from the line. Passes out wide. And it's going to be, I believe, no try for the Georgians. By the sounds of it, Carl Dixon was awarding that one before it even happened. There was the knock on. One of the Fijians yelling at the ref, but he cannot in this case because the referee was agreeing with him. I swear Fiji bottle this, says the Big V8 show. 5:30 p.m. here, says Penny Lane. So they will be checking this one just to make sure that there was a knock on, although the referee did blow the whistle. Okay, they've said there was a forward pass, so that is going to be why it is a no try. But I see a Naita Levu got it off to Eliza Druasisi, and it seemed like Fiji were about to get themselves that chance to score the try. But then it was a knock-on, kick downfield. Lobhanidze, he knew what he was doing when he jumped on that ball because it meant that it got knocked out of the hands of the Fijian on the ground. And we have got their binder. A real future star, says Gary Smith. And also nothing to do with the Rugby World Cup. We have Brad Binder. Finished second today in the MotoGP Japan sprint race. The main race is tomorrow, says Bruce. And Fiji caught thinking prematurely about the quarterfinals and not on the game in front of them. Georgia were up against the Portuguese. Islanders must get some cocoa juice at half time, says Derek. And also we have got our Fiji bottle this. I'm going to lose my... Says the Big V8 show. Now 45 seconds remaining here. Fiji inside of their own half, so they'll have to get rid of this scrum. Clear the ball afterwards. Like they've said, a bonus point win for Fiji in this game would secure them a spot in the quarterfinals, although they need 4 tries now in the second half for that to become a possibility. Bless them, they big mad. Says a scrum less, and also Georgia mean business. Fiji need to up their game. I'll say bye-bye. I think Luke Tangi might have been swearing by the sounds of it. They are just showing how the table would sit currently. Georgia would be right back in this pool if they were able to walk away with a victory here. Australia will get excited. Do they have a chance if Fiji lose, says Rick Flair? They do. A marginal chance, but it is still a chance. Miss G-Man, which was here to enjoy the Rugby World Cup, says Sir Michael. What's the rugby news that shocked the rugby community a couple years ago? It's crazy to think it's almost been 2 years in that case. And now Viliami Mata charging forward for the Fijians inside of the 22. Back into the pocket. Fiji will kick it out for a half that they will definitely want to forget. 9-0 in favour of Georgia after the first 40 minutes. You're from Hawke's Bay, Hamish. They took the shield. Says Aveto, I did see they took the shield. I'm not from Hawke's Bay, though. I am in the South Island, but a big performance from them. Give the referee card, says Louis. What would you give him one for? I feel like overall he hasn't been too bad throughout this contest, I didn't think. And Fiji beat England and Twickenham, says Bradley Slater. And it seems like Fiji will lose this one, says Timothy. And also we have got there, it looks like Fiji aren't used to Georgia being able to match them physically. It's throwing them off real bad. Says Caleb, and Georgia showing what they can do in the counter-attack. Still believe they will run out of steam. Fiji will take this one, says Sean Les. And did Fiji left their game plan back at their hotel? Says Mornay. We have got there. That was wrong with Fiji. Don't bowl it, guys, says Gary. And this is absolutely atrocious from Fiji. I'm absolutely livid, says Fiji Islander. I'll be honest, this is going to sound harsh, but that was the worst half of Fijian rugby we've seen in a long time. And the fact that they're only down by 9 points and didn't concede a try, you've got to give them some praise. I know that it sounds weird to say, but that could have been a lot worse. There were about 2 or 3 times that Georgia all but made their way over the try line, but the Fijians able to stop them just enough. Oh, yeah, their Georgians are tough. Says Callum and Sam Matavisi can't throw to save his life, and that is actually why in my lineup prediction, I actually changed him out and went with Tevita Ikanaveri in this game. He was the only player in that front row that I switched. I said to keep Lutangi, I said to keep Aroni Maui, but switch Sam Matavisi out for Tevita Ikanaveri. That is something the Fijians didn't do, and I think it's cost them dearly throughout that first half. I wouldn't be surprised if Ikanaveri does have to go off the field or on the field early on in the second half. We have there Georgia bringing the physicality Fiji didn't expect. And same as Uruguay in 2019, they beat Fiji, says Timothy. And also, I'm telling you, it's the Georgians' grapes. And Fiji looked lazy and tired. Zero communication between the players, says Philippines. And throughout that first half, they did have 58% territory. 58% territory for the Fijians, as well as 53% possession. They were able to beat 6 defenders compared to, here's a big number, 14 defenders beaten by Georgia throughout that first half. But for the Fijians, they have lost 2 of their own scrums. They've also lost 4 of their own lineouts. And that extra bit of possession that they are allowing the Georgians to have is costing them quite a bit. They've given away 3 penalties in this game, the Fijians, compared to the 7 that have gone against the Georgians. And Georgia are doing what the Wallabies couldn't, win the collision, says Jeff. Yeah, they are stepping up here, Georgia, throughout that first half. Ninashvili looked very strong. Matkava seemed like a bit of a ringmaster at number 10. And then also a nice bit of work from Tapladze throughout that game as well, just to try find some offloads. And Fiji still in this game. They need a good halftime talk. Sort out their handling errors, says Reshin. And Portuguese had the opportunity to take the game from Georgia. Ended with a draw 18-18, says Blues Nate. What's up with Fiji? I've come back to this. Says cool story, bro. Just the errors when it comes to that handling as well as the line-out errors. It's been hurting them there. Tackle success. They've made 77% of their tackles, missing the 14, 62 tackles made. Here's a stat as well. Georgia have made 99 tackles. They have only missed 6. So the line breaks for the Fijians just haven't quite coming as often as it did up against the Australians, mainly because they just haven't quite been able to break through that Georgian defence. And any time they try and find that risky offload from their back, the Georgians are there, they get the ball, and then they run it hard. We have got there Georgia will play an even better second half, I reckoned. And also we have got there, go Georgia, says Bowie, and Fiji live close to the edge. That's why we love them. Take a little spark to get them going, says Derek. And looking at the betting odds at the moment, the Fijians are still considered favourites. Now, Georgia came in as about $7 underdogs here in New Zealand. Whereas for the Fijians, they were, like I said, heavy favourites. They are now $1.65. So they've gone back to almost even for this matchup. That was a big yawn. Although saying that, it is currently 5:38 a.m. here in New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise about my bloodshot eyes as well. We have been up for quite a bit of time throughout the last few days. Now just showing the tail of the tape. In fact, meters made, they actually have almost 500 here for the Fijians on their score sheet. They haven't got the handling errors, which I would have loved to see. And bro, TF, am I watching? Ref gives 2 advantages for offside and then awards a knock on to Georgia from another offside play. Georgia defending offside all day, says I was there from roll. Yeah, I thought they were up relatively early in that one. For the Georgians, they have been penalised 7 times in that first half, including a few that were just out in front of their own goal line. Hamish, you should get a good halftime nap, says Reshin. And Fiji will come on strong second half, says the New Age. And also, seems like Fiji feeling the pressure, knowing if they win, they go through, and line breaks giving scoring opportunities, but defensive men like Georgia prevent that, says Charles. And yeah, Ninashvili was phenomenal throughout that first half, not just getting his kicks over, but also being able to stop that momentum anytime the Fijians broke through the line. One more penalty kick for Georgia. It's game over for Fiji. Says Timothy, and Georgia taking us home. Eddie Jones will be happy. Says Philippines 4-1-9. Well, it just gives the Australians that little bit of an extra chance, doesn't it? So the Fijians, worst comes to worst in this game, they have to walk away with 1 point because that will help take a little bit of the pressure off their Portuguese game. In that case, they would only have to win it. This is the moment where intellect and IQ wins. Says Bobby. And also we have there Shane Rams. Thank you again for all your hard work. Says Jacqueline. And also have more coffee, Emmy. Keep those dish open. Says Spotomic. And Fiji not respecting Georgia. Should have taken a couple of threes in the first half. Says Beesman. And that could be down to the fact that they were thinking about the bonus point that they wanted to get. Like they said, their work in the breakdown and their set piece for that first half weren't quite firing. For the Fijians, Wallabies will make it. Walker will be happy too. Says Philippines. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 36,000, although we did have a different goal. By the end of this live stream, we are currently 20 away from 35,800. So if you do want to help us get there before the end of halftime, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, why not? Kick the penalties first, build scoreboard pressure, then the tries will come later, says Mus. And also, poor first half performance. They need to score first in the second half to give them the momentum. And Titatela is actually playing well this game, which is irritating because the one time he's playing good rugby and the other back line are playing like a tier 3 nation, if that's even a thing. And let's go Fiji, says MTK in there as well. And also Calera, hopefully I said that correctly, has said yawning. And also their sub says LRF there, and chips and dip, says Ian. And Georgia, a good win on form against Oz and Portugal. They weren't. As a Welshman, I'm sweating watching Georgia in this game. I agree with you, says John there. And know any words in Maori? Sorry for spelling, says Kostru, bro. I know a little bit. Like I know Kake te koe te rawiki, and also Homa e rima kotahi to, I can't say it now. Kotahi tonu kata kata. That's what I mean. And also Calmac that explains, doesn't it? We lost. Would we still bore you? Says Stan, I feel bad. I'm having great wine and you're having water. Sorry, man. Thanks. Remember to like. Says Jacqueline. And as much as I want Fiji to win, it's nice to see the underdogs putting on a good fight. Says Reshin and Tosaviti. Says Calera. But I should mention we are still yet to see a try in this match, ladies and gentlemen. So our question that stood in the first half still stands now. And that is, who do you feel will score the first try in this match? I am still going with Waisia at the level. I feel like that's not too bad of a shout, although a few of these Georgian players definitely need to be watched out for. Taputzadze, Ninashvili as well. If you like wine, you need to come in Georgia, says Bobby. And also, we have got the Fiji need to get their stuff together, says Rudy. And if Fiji don't score a try in the first 10 minutes of the second half, I'm offing my TV, says Caleb. I wouldn't blame your TV, though. Like, at the end of the day, you might need that for something else. You could turn off the TV. Maybe instead. That could be compromise. I've been to Georgia many times. Says Jacqueline. They're just showing Georgia. And they were extremely close to scoring multiple tries in that first chance. Or first half, Heidi Mai. Says Rick Flair. And us Kiwis always back Fiji. But they're not playing a win. Fiji can still do it in the second half, says Calera. And also great one, says Bobby. And Georgia should have had a try. They botched it, says us. And the same could be said about the Fijians. When they took that quick tap only 5 metres out from the line. And sheesh, people punting Georgia over Fiji, says Derek. And also Māori order, says Rick Flair. And also Eddie Jones spiked the Carver Bowl. And game over Fiji, Georgia wins, says the Māori. Although you did say earlier on if Georgia got more points, then they would win. The stage still sitting on those same points. Those look like brilliant bananas. Like the local bananas you get here. I'm looking in the changing sheds, by the way. Before anyone starts insinuating anything. The bananas, they've got a nice and yellow. The ones here at the moment are green, and they take forever to ripen, which is very sad. Threw TV out the window when daughter was 6. She watched cartoons instead of homework, says Peter Wild. Well, I hope that was worth it. And does anyone think that last pass for Georgia was forward? Look fine to me, says LRF. I know that they said about the 4 pass, but I thought that the number 9, I think it was Lobhanidze, I thought he knocked it on when he was sliding through for that first initial carry. But Yeah, it's an interesting one. $100, Georgia scores first 5 minutes into the second half, says Philippines. Does that mean that I get $100? That would be nice. And the pass was almost at forward as the Broncos versus Warriors forward pass, says Mus. And also, Fiji never learned from their mistakes, says the Multi. Hey, Hamish in New Zealand. Or is New Zealand jealous of BRI? What is that? I don't actually know what that is. The British Racing in Cars Society? Maybe. And cheese and onion scone, says Ian. And also wish I could see the Great Lakes in North America fishing there. I believe it's exceptionally good. And parents should get their kids playing sports instead of PlayStation, says Rick Flair. Yes, so she entered uni at only 16. You also chillax is entitled to his opinion, says John. And also, how can I watch the second half, says Sunsi. Your best option would be to go onto the Rugby World Cup website. Then from there, you can see where the watch options are, depending on whereabouts you are in the world. And Fiji not fixing their line out is really biting them in the butt, says Caleb. Yeah, I agree. I think that Ikanaveri should have started this game. I also feel like Ikanaveri should start the second half because Matavesi, I don't think he's done enough off the ball in terms of those turnovers and everything like that to warrant still having him out there. The referee is player of the match for Georgia, says the truth hurts, but he penalised Georgia more than double the times that he penalised Fiji, as well as disallowing 2 Georgian tries. So if he was a Georgian player, he's not doing a very good job of it. Says Derek, but he can't help. The thing is, Fiji have dropped the ball about 10 times throughout that first half. They had 4 lineouts that didn't go to hand. There are things that Fiji could have done in that half to do a lot better. And yes, at the end of the day, they gave away 3 penalties, but there's still a lot more that Fiji could have done in this game. Off the ball, running with it, it just didn't quite work out. Fiji just need to play their own game. Says Kalamek, and Matavesi is so mud, and Fiji is their own worst enemy. Exactly right. And not the ref's fault, and I'm Fijian. Says CJ. And also Eddie Jones, I won't be cringing anymore after watching this game, says Motu. And also we have got there, what if Fiji loses this one? Well, it depends. If they're within the 7 points, they will still get the bonus point, which would mean they only need the win over Portugal to be able to go through. Or the other option is if Fiji do somehow win this game, but they don't get themselves the bonus point, they still won't quite be through to the next stage of the Rugby World Cup. Fiji wake up, it's game day, says Tassi, and I hope for a better second half from Fiji. It can't get any worse. Fiji put coconut oil on their hands before the game and cheese and onion scones with mainland butter, says Ian, and I'm a Fijian fan. But please stop Fijian supporters. Stop blaming the ref in this game. He literally hasn't made a bad call against Fiji the entire game. Got to start crying when our team is playing bad. Or got to stop crying when our team is playing bad, says Caleb. We always look rather slick and lose then play boring rugby, says CJ. Fiji are not clinical and Georgia are meeting them head on, says Calmac. Yeah. There's a lot they can do better. In that second half for the Fijians, they are already in a huddle on halfway. I'm looking for that number 16 on the back. I need to see it early on in the second half. Right. I think I see Taveta Ikanaveri. No, Matavesi. How do you keep Matavesi out there after the first half that he had? That seems like a huge risk for me because he didn't even have that great of a line out against Australia. Now to keep him out there in such an important part of the game seems extremely risky. And this is what happens when you underestimate your opponent, says Peter Lowe. Although that's the thing, I don't think Fiji lineup-wise did underestimate them. It's just more the way that they've played so far throughout this game because they went with the same team apart from Celestino Ravatamanda in for in for Gitawaini Nyolo. Other than that, they've gone with the same side as they had in that Australian game, which they did get themselves the victory. They've got there, who do you think, or what do you think of this match so far? I think that Georgia have looked very strong on attack. They've been close to scoring a couple tries, just narrowly missing out. And for the Fijians, there is still a lot to be desired in the way that they have been playing. But second half now underway, ladies and gentlemen. Tite Tela to kick us off for the second 40 minutes. This is going to be an important patch in the game. Like I mentioned, Fiji need to limit the mistakes and look to build some attacking pressure. Good morning, Amish. How's your hay fever? No worries, Fiji is going to win in the second half, says Herman. The hay fever's actually been not too bad today, but I think that's because I haven't had a decent sleep, so I'm still kind of awake from yesterday. Tangi Valu, Fiji retaining their own kickoff. Looks like there's another Georgian player down here. But Fiji loose ball, knock on at the start of the second half. And now it is going to be the scrum. Once again, Fiji trying to force it rather than just allowing it to go through the hands. Ruasisi now needs to now leave the field, but it looks like another injury here is Jayani. So it was loose. Tuisova tried to give it off to Ruasisi. It was marginally forward anyway from that pass, but Fiji with that bounce pass. That's the thing that's hurting them at the moment. The fact that every time they are passing, it is hitting the turf. You're allowing that ball to slow down by doing so. Fiji's making too many mistakes. Got to keep or come back strong for the second half. Hope Fiji does better now, says Bum with Soap. I had a feeling that Georgia would be a tough game against Fiji because they had a draw match against Fiji last year, says Eldon. If Fiji lose here, can Oz go through? They can. Just showing the Fijians. They have missed 14 tackles throughout that first half. Georgia, they have only missed 6 from their 99 tackles made. Lapanidze. Out daylight saving here in Sydney. Good morning, overseas Daniel Watson. Welcome in. Once again, mate, going to the short side here for, I believe it was Jalahoria, and now it's back on to, no, it's not. It's going to be the penalty in favour of Fiji, or is it? No, Fiji get the yellow card, my apologies. Sinbin here for a deliberate knockdown from Semi Radradra. If it couldn't go any worse for the Fijians, now adding that yellow card into the mix as well. Big nations don't want Fiji or any of the Pacific nations winning the World Cup. Big elephant in the room. Says the truth hurts. We have got there a real close game. It does seem that way. It was always going to be the closest game, I believe, of today from the 3 games that had taken place. Now Georgia kicking it into touch once more. We have got there. That's right. Turn the TV off. It's called listening to you. Says Kalera. And Georgia might end up saving Eddie Jones's job. Fingertip of Radradra just touches it. Goes off the field for 10 minutes now. That was silly, Ruddy. Says Blues Nate, and Fiji plays better when they're a man down. Says Rishan. To be honest, I do agree with you. Do I hear red? Says Spiderbeak. You do not know. No red card in that, and almost stolen. Yes, it is by Fiji. And line out time. Now Druasisi charges forward. Doesn't quite find his next passing option. But now Fiji inside of the Georgian territory. Nice take from Luke Tangi. Kuravuli off now to Asoa Nasilasila. And those tackles there bring Georgia's tackle count over the 100 mark now. Matavisi, another carry from him, getting driven backwards. And I don't know, Radradra says Alpharus. And I was like, come on, Georgia, it's not your everyday cultures. That is another knock-on from Fiji, looking for the 50-22 here, Georgia. Ball bouncing awkwardly. Touches the hand of Tangi Valu. It went backwards, and now he's got a bit of space. No, the ref says it goes forward. And that is now going to be another scrum feed for Georgia. Handling error after handling error. Radradra rocks a beard, says Kelmac. But Tangi Valu, I think that he got... he's running backwards. It's one of those decisions that could have gone either way in the knock-on department. But it's still very poor from Fiji to not be able to find that rhythm as of yet in the second half. Radradra got a yellow, might as well go to sleep, guys. It's way too early to be dealing with this as a Fijian supporter, says Caleb. And also we have their poor discipline again by Fiji. That was one of the most difficult care packages to arrange. Now it wasn't the balls, was it, Kerr? No, the balls, I think, were missing. You didn't send those, did you? Out of curiosity, because they didn't arrive if you did. So hopefully you didn't end up sending them in the end. Game's not over till it's over, guys. A lot still to happen, says Stan. Now rolling maul chance, or in fact, no, it's not even a rolling maul. That's just how strong the scrum was. Now we'll go back for another penalty. What does knocking the ball on have to do with discipline? Says Sir Michael. If it's a deliberate knockdown, that is considered as a penalty rather than a knock-on, if that makes sense. I think that was what we were referring to. I actually can't believe just how badly they're playing. Maybe their wins against England and Australia were flukes after all. I know not the ball's a new one, says Kerr. Okay, I'm curious. Or you could say curious. But bang, eh? Fiji are overconfident, says Tony Lip. And I know nothing going Fiji's way. What's wrong, Fiji? Nervous, hungry, tired? What? Says Spotomic. Georgia have been playing unimaginative game, but grinding, unfortunately, not enough line breaks, says Charles. No players on the short side here for Fiji, but it's gone down to the front row. No, Lopanidze going across again and behind. Wide cut out past Aninashvili, looking for the corner. He step round 2. Fijian defenders. He's tackled high from Celestino Rava to Munda, and the penalty goes the way of the Georgians. They take the quick tap, just short of line. Brilliant defence from Lavani Botia, but how long can the Fijians hang on for here? Up against the Georgians, the ball pops out the side, and they're going back for the original penalty. What? That was knocked on. They took the quick tap, ref. Oh, no, the high tackle, they took the quick tap. Did they not take the quick tap? Did they? The commentator's confused. Oh, he said it looked like the penalty was taken. So we saw the high shot. Then from there, the tap was taken, and then Georgia now have got another opportunity with that same penalty. The crowd, I think... Okay, Tom Foley's happy with something. Was there a second... Maybe there was a second high tackle. Is the only thing I can think of there. But that is very confusing. Penalty must be for something else. Maybe offside at the quick tap. I'd say, yeah, it's got to be something else in there. I think the referee saying going back for the high tackle was the mistake. In that case, I think Lapan Nidze might have knocked that ball on. It's bounced off a Georgian leg, though, and does go into touch. I'm stoned. Put some mild butter on my cheese and onion scones. It's great, says Ian. You're absolutely loving your cheese and onion scones, aren't you? Yeah, Australia will get a lifeline if Fiji lose. Georgia aren't that bad. They beat Wales and Italy, says Ric Flair, and Georgia will lose. And took it back and made them restart it. Oh, Kuravuli almost breaking through the line. Another penalty this time. It is for dragging down the arm at line out. And Fiji got to come on strong, says the New Age. And Fiji forwards, please stand up and man up. See, this is where I would put Tavita Ikanaviri on the field, rather than Sam Matavisi right at this moment, because Matavisi, 50% of his lineouts have almost been going astray throughout this contest. And you've got to ask your question, would it be, oh, yep, someone's getting subbed. Who dat? Okay, Frank Lamani's now making his way onto the field. I'm not actually too sure who that is going to be for, though. I'd like to think that it wouldn't be for Kuravuli or Tite Tella. But so Ronnie Maui making his way off the field for Penny Ravai. And Lamani, okay, it is for Kuravuli. But Matavisi stays on the field. Strange choice. Once again, the Fijian lineout unsuccessful. And Georgia managed to get that ball back. It was knocked on by Asoa Nasilisila. That one we can't really blame on Matavisi. Was just a case of a loose bit of work from Asoa Nasilisila. Why sub out your best goal kicker in such a tight game, says Moose. Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly didn't know who Lamani was going to go on to the field for. But, yeah, getting rid of Kuravuli. Although I guess he has missed one kick so far throughout this game. So maybe that's what they're working on. The fact that he hasn't got that 100% accuracy. It's a knock-on from Georgia here. Another scrum feed. We are currently 48 minutes through this game, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Jones' trick up his sleeve. He planned all of this, says George. And I says, Yako, welcome in. Sona Silla. I'm able to regather that one. That tap penalty is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, says Simon. Yeah, the only reasoning behind it I can think of is there was another high tackle or there was another penalty somewhere along the way that Georgia got. But the referee did say we're going back for the original high tackle penalty, even though they did take that quick tap and continued to play. And now it's starting to look like Fiji wants to get the early flight, says Stan, although they still have the game next week up against the Portuguese, we must remember. And in that game, they would have to walk away with either a victory or a victory with a bonus point, depending on how the game here finishes up between these two sides. We have got there Fiji need to be patient and fix their handling. Stop trying 50-50 passes, says Mus. And also South Africa so far, says Iyako. E. Jones is like, I told you so, says John. And Go Fiji goes, says Sulietti. Or a case of your 9 points behind and need to now score at least a try to get ahead. Going for the kicks at this point is unlikely to get them back into the game. They need to get over that try line now, says Matthew. They need something big here for Fiji. They've still got a man down for the next 2 minutes. It's going to be passed out to Celestino Ravatamanda, who goes for the chip and chase. It's going to be sitting up. He kicks it forward. He's been foot tripped there by the Georgian fullback. But because the ball's already out at the time, I think they're going to say it's fine. They might have to have a look at this, though. Was there foul play? I believe there was. So he kicks it out. Oh, no, I think he's unlucky there. I think he was reaching out his foot to try and trap that ball and then ended up catching the stray of the Fijian leg. Fiji have to step out of that line out. Foot trip is still a penalty, says Mus. Yeah, although from that other angle, it did look like he did reach for the ball. Stolen at the line-out time for the Fijians. Here comes Lavani Botia. Chucking himself at the line is the best way of describing it. Lamani slings it off to the left. They've got numbers now, Fiji. Nayatalevu, 5 metres out from the try line, tackled by the fullback, Moribadse. Now Lamani back across to the right again. Aroni Maui, the other replacement. Lamani after Matavisi. Tackled 5 out. Again to the left-hand side, Luke Tangi. He's had a very good game for a big man throughout this fixture. The ball's available again. Up again, offside. Georgia, cut out pass. Waisia Nayatalevu. They're going to check it. It is a try. I said that he would be the first try scorer. I didn't think it would be in the 51st minute. But the Fijians back in the contest now. The Georgians rushing up to try and counter that Fijian passing. But Lamani, he might be the X-factor that they needed in the second half by the looks of it. He was getting that ball out of the breakdown efficiently. Waisia Nayatalevu, his second try in this Rugby World Cup. 6 to 9 business days, apparently, says Kerr there. Right, well, I will be very nervously awaiting. See what it is that's going to end up showing up. Put the time on the screen. It is that 51 that is down below. They are just checking the foot here. Waisia Nayatalevu to finish that in the way that he has by lifting his foot to stop it from going into touch is a sensational bit of work from the Fijian captain. And a captain's performance being put on by him so far. What's the possession rate of Fiji? In that first half, they had 53%. They've checked this grounding by about 4 times. Have you tried fried watercress? I have not. No, I haven't even tried watercress. You're right, mate. Much better. We go to sleep. Poor performance from Fiji, says Kalea. Fiji can still do it. And Lamani, the X factor. And now he's lined up the kick. And he's got it over as well. Frank Lamani. He's only been on the field for a few minutes, but already having the impact. 7 points to 9 now. The Fijians back in it. Lamani is a better playmaker than Kuravuli. Kuravuli is only better at the box kicks. Says Caleb, and Madagascar are a rugby nation. I would like to see them in the World Cup one day. Says Rick. Let's go Fiji, drop this side off, or this team off. And the thing is, we mentioned about it. Georgia always come out strong. It's in the second half that we normally see Fiji start to up that momentum. They were playing with 14. Oh, that's a big shot on Ninashvili. He ran straight into Celestino Ravatamanda, which is something I highly do not recommend. Matavisi should be going off soon, recharging the time hookers, or reaching the time hookers usually go off. So yeah, I think Tavita Ikanaveri shouldn't be too far away. He dropped that. Says Pleasant too boring this game, says Daniel. I think it's been an entertaining enough one. That is a knock-on from Sam Matavisi. If that doesn't tell exactly when he should be going off the field, I don't know what does. But Georgia now, they are going to be having the scrum feed against them. It is actually going to be Fiji's feed. And they must win, says Tix. And also Bronx Nation, says Tino. And Go Fiji Go, says Lapi. And also we have got that one Anavu Tosaviti. And who was the guy that bet at 100 for Georgia to score first, says Chuck T. He is a man with $100 less now by the sounds of it. And Fiji putting pressure on the line of scrimmage, says Cool Story Bro. And Bronx Baby, says Sir Michael. And suddenly game on, says Stan. I believe that's a Fiji chant going around the ground at the moment. Scrum has gone down on the far side. But I think they must be holding out, hoping that Matavisi finds momentum at some stage in this game before taking him off. But I don't think that's the case in this contest. I think it's just been from start to finish, he has been really struggling. I think Africa should host like an African championship type deal where Namibia, Kenya, etc. play each other or compete against South Africa franchises, or at least train with them, says Francois. We actually said about that a couple of weeks ago, except we didn't have it as the South African franchise sides. We said about maybe doing like a South Africa XV, or, you know, make up a couple South Africa B, South Africa XV, and then add them into a competition alongside them. And we have got a super sticker from Stan. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. What is the group situation if Fiji gets 4 points from this game? It will be a little bit dependent on what happens in the Australian game, but Fiji would still probably need 1 more point next week up against the Portuguese. Now Lamani going across to the left-hand side. Big shot coming in, but it is high from his name's hard. Chiladze is his name. Fiji calling for the shot at the post here as well with the penalty one. And if they do get this one over, that will give them the lead for the first time throughout this game. Just a little bit high, only marginally. With the tackle on Penny Ravai, go Fiji, says Lapi. And Fiji need to win this match and the next match to secure their quarter, says West. Or if they win this game with a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries. But at this stage, it looks like Fiji are not concerned about chasing that corner, instead going for the points when they're available. Seems to be the way that they will be going. Maybe Fiji should be allowed to join the Rugby Championship, and then maybe Georgia should be allowed to join the Six Nations, says Eldon. That's the first name you couldn't pronounce, says Rishin. It's a tricky one. I can pronounce his first name, it's Mikkel, but their last name just is impressive. And Fiji 23, Georgia 16, says Stan. Still 25 minutes remaining. Lamani now from 35 out off the kicking tee. It's like he's got the distance. It's hit the post and bounced away to the right-hand side. The score will remain at 9 points to 7. We have got there China as part of BRICS, the British Racing and Car Society, honoured by South Africa's rugby prowess. Both of these teams have been working really hard these past 10 years. Madagascar is the poorest East African country and don't have a club league I've heard of. And Georgian names is like they try to fit in as many Z's, says Mus, cowboy style, says Bella. It's going to be a goal line dropout. Drua Sisi controlling it nicely with his boot. Looks to fire a kick back of his own, running onto that one was Matkava. Again down into the Fijian 22. Today Teller goes to Lamani, who has got time. Try and put this ball into touch. Does just that. Good clearing kick. We have there a very giving man. Take my hat off to you, says Stalin. Cool story if you know. It's surprising he is not cheering on the Martians just to tickle your bone. BRI or BRICS. Bad timing. China economy is dropping hard, says the New Age. I feel like I'm just going to keep on referring to it as the British Racing and Car Society. Which surely they have, right? They'd have a society for racing in cars. Now currently halfway out. Georgians in possession. Georgia couldn't beat Portugal, says Chuck D, but Portugal couldn't beat Georgia. Time remaining, says Dex. 23 minutes still on the clock here between the two sides. Makava has to play half. Now Ninashvili, that was close to a charge down for the Fijians. Radradra takes it nicely and he'll be looking to have a real impact now that he's had a 10-minute break. Be fresh as a daisy. Ready to go for the later stages of the game. Penny Ravai, good shot on him coming in. I'm from Frank Lamani. Straight down to the 22. To the hands of Makava. That was close to a 4 pass out to Ninashvili, who now goes in behind. 50, 22 chance. I think Drua Sisi just keeps it in the field of play. Brilliant bit of work at the back from the young Fijian drawer. Fullback. Oh, Georgia letting it bounce. That almost ended up as a 50-22 in favour of the Fijians. Muribadze. It's down the middle of the field. Radradra might have an injury here. He does not look 100%. So that might be the change that they make with Naya Habosi on and Radradra off. Come on, Fiji, says Bella. And what money does Georgia bring to the Six Nations? Same as Fiji does to the championship, never happening, says Fleshin. Although I think Fiji would bring more to the Rugby Championship in terms of money than Georgia brings to the Six Nations. There's quite a following for this Fijian side. And Georgia, come on, says Power. And also we have got to imagine if Nigeria's main sport was rugby, says Sir Michael. And now a couple more changes being made. Gigashvili making his way off. Radra taken back to his feet. I don't think they're changing him yet. Albert Tuisui, he will be coming onto the field. I think that will be for Asoa Nasilasila, if I'm being honest. And then also alongside that, they've got Taveta Ikanaveri, who is about to make his way on. But first of all, there is going to be one more line out for the Georgians. Nicely taken by their open side flanker. Now the rolling maul for the Georgians once more. It is Neil Radze. Came on the field earlier than anticipated due to the early injury of their number 2. The rolling maul. The ball's available for Fiji. Able to shut it down early. Change number 3. Says MTK. I mean, Luke Tangi, he's put on an absolute shift in this game, hasn't he? We have got their kids had dinner and in bed. What have I missed, says Jacqueline? Well, we saw one try for the Fijians coming in the form of the captain YC and Naya Thalevu. And Tosa Vititoso, says Kalera there. Ikanaveri making his way on. It's actually going to be Tuisui on the field for Viliami Mata. And looks like Radradra, he is also going to be making his way off the field. That will be for Vinaya Habosi. Could also offer that X factor later on in the game. Next time stand, says Kus. And also I heard about Madagascar and India. Well, rugby should help those guys a little bit more, says Eldon. And it's big in Fiji. What's your point, says Bella. And also cynical stuff. Some of these comments, says Nicholas. Now 20 minutes remaining. Lamani on the ball in again at scrum time. Albert Tuisui already getting his first carry. Offloads to Lamani. All the subs working together, but that one was too far behind Te Tela. And it's a knock-on against the Fijians. And Georgia now will have themselves a scrum. And Manisha has got the Fijian flags. And there I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 hours' time, there is another game that has taken place in the rugby world. That is Scotland versus Romania. We will be covering that game on the channel as well. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. After this contest, we will also have our post-match review that we will be doing. But there'll be a lot to talk about from throughout this game. Cowboy-type riders, it's all good. Says Tex. And also, please not challenge me again. My family is always NR1. Is that national racing one? Everything else comes second. Life is very hard in South Africa at the moment, you should know. Says Stull. And also Tosa Vititosa, says Kalera, but they are currently having the drinks break in this game. Anyone who hasn't already hit that subscribe button, we are 2 away from our subscriber goal. So if you do want to help us out, it is heavily appreciated. Looking at what is to come for these two sides, it is not all done and dusted for these teams as of yet in this Rugby World Cup. Next week, the Fijians, they will be taking on Portugal. That is the 8 a.m. kickoff game on the Monday night. So I believe that's also 8 a.m. in Fiji, or 9 p.m. if you are in South Africa. Then Wales have got their game up against Georgia, in which if Georgia manage to win this game, and then if they can win themselves their next game up against Wales, they could almost qualify for that Rugby World Cup. So, or the quarterfinals, that is. And there's a lot on the line here, because you got to think about the automatic qualification process for next World Cup. Anyone who's in the top 3 automatically qualifies. The rest of the teams have to qualify through playing games. Look at their sub, says Dave Bad. Thank you very much, mate. And also Go Fiji Go, says Ani there, and Go Fiji Go, says Athapelo. Now, Ivanishvili, he's going to be going off the field, or onto the field, sorry. And also Fiji for life, says Andrew. Fiji played well when they had 14 players. As soon as they went back to 15, started playing bad again, says Caleb. Now scrum feed just inside of their own half. And congratulations, says Tino. Thank you very much. And absolutely 100, says Ani there. Big push. This one, I think it's almost going to be, that's a Fijian penalty. I was going to say, I think that's almost going to be popping out on the side of the Fijians. And Scotland Romania will also be 70-6 type thumping, says John. And yeah, it does seem like it's going to be a relatively one-sided game between those two teams, but we are still going to be covering it on the channel. We are covering every single match of this Rugby World Cup. And there's some pretty exciting ones just around the corner. Victory will be Georgia's, says Power Georgian. Fiji starting to believe in themselves, says Kalmac. Yeah, it seems like they've started finding that rhythm since making those changes off the bench. This will be Tavita Ikanaveri's first line-out throw. So it will be a big challenge for that man. And Tosaviji Tosso, says Calera. And also we have got the I am worried, says Andrew. And Romania is going to get pumped, says Mus. It's going to be a tough game, that is for sure. Now Tavita Ikanaveri, line-out, accurate. And now the Fijians have ended up with the ball. Celestino Ravatamanda tackled well by the replacement number 20 in this game, Ivanishvili. Now Tavita Ikanaveri, a few extra metres. We're hearing the French national anthem being sung at the moment by the crowd, but Lamani going across again to that left-hand side. They're only really getting one or two passes in a row before Georgia's defence that is rushing up has been able to stop them. Eliza Droa-Sisi now going out to Lavani Bortia, pass on the outside to Celestino Ravatamundu, who has to step in off his wing, trying to avoid that touchline. Lamani back across to Tavita Ikanaveri. It's starting to look like a Fijian draw party now. Out there on the field, almost rolled the wrong way. Not making too many metres though throughout this last 5 or so phases. Lutangi now tackle once more. Tete Tella had a bit of a piercing run. Moves up to 24 metres out now. Lamani slinging past, well handled by Aroni Maui, who took it while taking the knee. Tavita Ikanaveri breaking through. Still 20 metres out though for Fiji. It is hard to get yards. They are throwing everything that they can at it. Eliza Droa-Sisi leaves it for Albert Tuisui here. Going around that breakdown, tackled. This time by Sheshvili. Now Lamani going across the Tete Tella. The big thing for Fiji is being patient. Tuisova, wide cut out pass to Vinaya Habossi. He accelerates. Moves to now 10 metres out from the line. This is the best phase play we have seen from the Fijians. Tuisova almost dropped it. And now that is the first time the ball has gone down, but it was backwards. Play on. YC Naya Levu this time has now knocked it on. Advantage overcalled by the referee. Knocked backwards. Vinaya Habossi has to pick it up. Trying to play it again. Georgia getting that one from playing the ball on the ground. That will be the penalty against the Georgians now. 15 handling errors from Fiji throughout this game. I think you're bloody great as usual, sister. Although I should mention there's still another 16 minutes remaining in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. And Shop Bro, thanks for the live. Says Timoteo. Hopefully I've said that correctly, but thank you very much, mate, for being here. 1K watching, 153 likes. Body slam the like button, y'all, says Scrumless. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, also be sure to hit that subscribe button, as you will get notified of all the uploads that we have throughout this Rugby World Cup. Every single game. We're covering Fiji, Portugal next week. The Fijians get themselves a victory here. They manage to make it to those quarterfinals. They will be up against England, and we will be covering that one on the channel. So it looks like Frank Lamani once again will be lining up this 3 points for Fiji. It is from 40 metres out. Georgia look like they are handling the Fijian physicality very well here, says Fleshin. Yeah, they've just been patient in the defensive line, not allowing the Fijians to get those line breaks by rushing up, leaving those gaps. But now Lamani, this is an important kick. Can he get it over? This time he has kept it extremely low, and it has gone over for Lamani. 10 points to 9 now. The first time in this match for the Fijians that they are in the lead. It has taken 65 minutes, but they've got there in the end. I might have missed it. Have replacements come on? They certainly have. So Lamani is on the field for the Fijians. Albert Tuisui also out there. Tavita Ikanaveri. And then Vinaya Habossi. I believe that is most of the subs. Looks like now one of the props is going to be taken off. I believe that will be Luke Tangi. And also Timo Mainavanua. Nicely claimed by Georgia though, retaining their own kickoff. And they are back on the attack now. Now, Abduladze. Fiji, they were a little bit quick to get forward there. Got to be careful not getting themselves offside. And God bless guys, says Annie. And also Fiji ahead, your beauty, says Bella. Let's go, says Wes. Now Fiji having to defend from inside of their own 22. Still with 15 minutes remaining. Plenty of time left on the clock. Now Radze. Abrasidze. Gets it off to Ivanishvili. Looks like there might be an injury here for Matkava. Looks like, oh no, in fact, it is Norioladze, or Neoradze, I should say. Yes, Hamish, forget us, we will play with this food like in 1995. Says Jacqueline, and good on Georgia, they are actually giving them a good fight. And good evening to the best commentator on YouTube, says Dion. Welcome in, mate. You are doing extremely well. And also, have you tried West Coast Whitebait? I have not, no. Ball carrier dips into the contact. They were checking for foul play. And 14 minutes ago, says James. Our ref should get a red card, says Louis. What for, though? I think you said that in the first half, but I think everyone else was in agreement that the ref hadn't really done too much wrong. He's had a couple moments in the second half that have looked a little bit, I guess, not as confident in his decision-making, but overall, should be all right. Guys have forgotten the Ultimate Warrior, but I haven't. Says, cool story, bro. And this ref says, Andrew, the penalty does go the way of the Fijians in this case. So is it the fact that Fiji got the penalty you're not happy with, Andrew, in that one? Now it's going to be kicked into touch by the Fijians, who now have the ball on the halfway line. Come on, Fiji, says Red Howe, and Tosaviti Tosa, says Calera. Fiji win unlucky escape, says Bella. Georgian fans looking on eagerly and nervously, see how this one does end. Tavita Ikanaveri now, another line out, this time claimed by Timo Mainavanua. Done a roll forward. I just love to complain about decisions while the referee team is openly ripping off Georgia today. Big run from Tavita. Ikanaveri already has been the super sub. Ronnie Maui pops the ball up to Albert Tuisui. It's very much the only team to win the three finals they played in, but did not play in 1987 and 91, which they have done better than New Zealand, says Mario. Fiji and Georgia are playing, Mario. Although it is nice to see again. It seems to be every time you pop in, you tell us that exact same stat. Tosaviti Toso says Calera, and also Fiji, says Marius, and also go Fiji go, says Princess, now going through the legs for Celestino Ravatamana off to Lavani Bortia, breaking through one tackle, looks for the offloads, finds Benaya Habossi, and that will be the try for Fiji that they were eagerly awaiting. And to someone check the airplane food, the Avies was on their way to Twickenham, and also so Pawai and B cannot meet Pool C and D until the final, is that correct? So they can meet in the semi-finals is when the earliest they can have. I try and support the Rugby Ascendants. Just can't resist this channel, says cool story, bro. And also click the like button, guys. Says Stalin Georgia supporters getting real nasty, says Bella, but that kick has, or not the kick, sorry, but that try has stood for Vinaya Habossi. Sorry, brother, counting down the days. 28 days, says Tino. And also, yay, says Wes there. And also, are you just yawned? Are you tired? I have been awake for a pretty long time. So, yeah. A little bit tired, but we are powering through it. We have got 2 more live streams later on tomorrow morning, and then also the one later on today between Scotland and Romania. But for Naya Habossi, the subs have been what have got the job done for the Fijians at this point of the match. They hadn't scored a single point until those subs started being made, and then all of a sudden, they found their momentum. Unbelievable, says the new age, and now the kick for Frank Lamani has gone over. That will make the score 17 points to 9. And Fiji now find themselves in a very good position because they are ahead by 8 points, which means the Georgians cannot score a try and convert to take the lead back. A lot of people believe that Georgia supporters are French because a decent amount of people living in Georgia are French. Says Eldon, Fiji, you beauty, says Bella. As we are yeet. And nearly all the neutrals at this game are supporting Georgia, says Eldon. And I've seen somewhere that Fiji start playing at 60 minutes. Maybe it's true. Well, I think it's also more of the case of Georgia. They put in such a valiant effort throughout the first 60 minutes that they do normally start to tire as they get near the end of the game. Fiji, don't play like this against Portugal, please. Says Mus, now it's kicked him behind. Chasing after that one is Celestino Ravatamanda. Lines up Matkava, but does miss the tackle, who does step around the Fijian defence. He's broken through 5 tackles, still going Matkava. Now 38 metres from the line. The ball was knocked out of the hands of the Georgian. Now Fiji have got themselves the knock-on advantage. Lamani going back into the pocket to Tete Teller. Cross now into midfield. Eliza draw CC. Decides that it's a good option to kick. It's bounced out, but it was actually out on the full, so it is going right back to where he kicked it from. That is a mistake that Fiji could not afford to have here. And also the line, if defensive broken. Now the tanks are going to come through, and thank you, friend, for the commentary, says Princess Iron. No worries at all. And also great heart shown by the Georgian and not looking good for the Wallabies. Australia could still make it happen. Congratulations, Fiji supporters, Georgia fans. Win early crow. Says Bella, do you think World Rugby is out of touch with rugby fans in general? Says Neil. I think the ones near the top of the chain are a little bit, because the fact that this World Cup wasn't broadcast on, like, that's the thing. It would mean that I probably don't have a job, theoretically, in some regards for this World Cup. But we've just seen recently, I don't know how many of you watch golf, but the Ryder Cup, they are streaming the whole competition on YouTube. They had like 50,000 people watching earlier on the stream. I believe that rugby, if they were willing to stream their games on the World Rugby YouTube channel, they would get thousands and thousands of people watching these contests. But they don't seem to want to because of those broadcasters that are involved. It does make it very tricky. But now Georgia, 40 or so metres out from their try line. Aprasadze. Back across, good tackle made by Lavani Botti, although he has fallen the wrong way. Georgian halfback is holding him in there, trying to milk the penalty. He's not going to receive it. Now the no-look pass from the inside centre. Big shot coming in from Albert Tuisui. Great commentary. Amish greetings from near Cape Town. Says Simon there. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. As a pity, rugby fans always blame the ref. And anyone in France, beware the bed bugs. Don't take them back to your countries. That is going to be the penalty, though, now for Georgia. Tackler not releasing. I think a Fijian player has stayed down. It is Lavani Botia. They're thinking maybe he was ripped backwards by a Georgian, although I think he's got a knee injury, actually. Their game plan covers their line to wear Georgia down and win. It's a good game. Here's Mr. Rudolph. And also, I've got the prediction completely wrong on this one. Had Fiji winning with 36, says Stefan. And to be fair, the refs have been inconsistent, says Chuck T. And it has been something that has been a talking point of this Rugby World Cup, whether or not the referees across the board are going to be able to find that, I guess, cohesive ground. Their decision-making, RIP Georgia, says Mono, although now they aren't completely out of this game. They've still got a kick at the post. Look at their Southern Hemisphere power coming through now. See Fiji and watch the box. Argentina and the ABs. The next 2 weeks, even Oz. Mayhem Strong says red. Jorge making his way onto the field. That is for Ivanishvili. And great commentary. Hamish says the fellow there. Has there been one game without a yellow card? Says Mus. There has been. South Africa versus Scotland. Oh, sorry, not South Africa, Scotland. South Africa, Ireland. We didn't see a single card in that contest. I absolutely love. It's been quite a desirable area to live in. And Fiji too good in the second half, says Bella. And now another chance for Georgia to try and get this line out right. It will be Luka Nioradze. I think Georgia asking for the penalty there when it came to scrum time. Or sorry, when it came to the line out. But they do not end up receiving. And instead now trying to get that rolling maul marching forward. Now Fiji at this point for this game, I would like to believe, have at least 1 point. That's a knock on from the Georgian replacement hooker. Now Joshua Tuisova. He's had a quiet game. But could be what he does in this last 8 minutes. It helps the Fijians over line, although counter-attack now for the Georgians. That was a forward pass from Georgia, and they will go back for the scrum feed now. And cool Kiwi commentary says Calera there. And also, hoover your beard and wash frequently. You won't scratch like a bad hip-hop record. And big shout-out for White Life, 150 caps. Yep, next week we'll be hoping to bring it up against the Uruguayans. And also, Fiji did impress this World Cup so far, says Venom. Yeah, if they can get themselves the win here, they are one step closer to that Rugby World Cup quarterfinal up against the English. Fiji had to win this, says all. And if Fiji can somehow score 2 more tries in this last 7 minutes, that would actually secure them that bonus point and would guarantee qualification. Now, of course, a win here is crucial too. But if they score in the very near future, they may look to be extremely aggressive throughout the last few minutes. Try and search for that last extra point. That will be a big push from the Fijian front row. Didn't have anything to push up against those, so there is going to be, yet again, another scrum reset. And yes, says Maria. And dominant tackles, 21 dominant tackles made by Georgia throughout this game. 3 dominant tackles made by the Fijians. And Fiji will need to be more clinical in the quarterfinals. Says Calmac and bring it home, Fiji, says Ryan. And bravo, Fiji, says Maria there as well. Or it might be Maria, is it? Rather than Maria. 6 minutes now on the clock. And as that clock slowly starts to dwindle, the Georgians' hopes of pulling back a comeback may start to dwindle as well. And I see a 9th 11. That was silly. Just kicked the ball straight into the back of a Georgian player. Now Georgia back on attack on the halfway line. It's those little mistakes from Fiji in this game that are keeping Georgia within a sniff of this result. Now Matkava going across to Muribadze. Fullback for the Georgians. Big shot coming in though from Samu Tawaki. And yes, says Maria there. Now to the left-hand side. Rush defence. That's another forward pass, I think, for Georgia. Or at least it was very close to one, although over the ball for Fiji. Tangi Valu almost getting that turnover back. Now to the right-hand side. We're seeing some huge hits coming in as well, I should mention, from the Fijian defence. There was almost a deliberate knockdown from Waisia Nayatalevu. Georgia looking for the gap. Looks like Ninashvili is gripping at his leg. I think it was the left leg. This does not look good for him, though, because if that is a serious injury, he is a huge player that Georgia do not want to be losing. Finding the offload up. They've got numbers on this left-hand side. Unfortunately, though, there was no sign of that man at number 23, Tonike Kahuidze, passing. He just kept on going himself. I sometimes watch paint dry, more exciting than golf. Says Stan, I mean, I quite enjoy a bit of golf. Like, I'll enjoy playing it more than watching it. But Ryder Cup so far has some good moments that have taken place. And Fiji says, Marius, can you ever watch golf? Absolutely boring. Could you play golf, though, John? Out of curiosity. Because I've had quite a few people that don't like watching it, but when they've played it, they've been like, okay, this isn't actually that bad. Once you understand how difficult the shots those golf players are making, you enjoy watching it. Says Gareth. And you're the best commentator again. Thank you for offering up your sleeping time from Cape Town. That was from Mr. Rudolph. And thank you very much for being here. Like, at the end of the day, these live streams are always a lot more fun because of you guys being here in the chat. Golf is fun to play on an oil rig. Says, cool story, bro. I love watching golf, so relaxing. It's like yoga. Says Jacqueline. No, golf is okay to play. Terrible to watch, says Calmac. Now rolling more. And golf is okay to play, boring to watch, says Rick. And then another penalty goes the way of Fiji. And only 2 more plays Fiji, says Rudy. And they are running low on time, only 4 minutes remaining. So at this point, I would like to almost say, with the fact that the Fijians have got themselves the penalty, they'll be putting this ball into touch. They are in the position where they almost can't lose this game. But it's just that question mark of how much can they win this game by. And 5:32 a.m. And Fiji, says Illinois, how long now? Says James, only the 4 minutes remaining. That kick-ass bound touch. It was a decent effort from Ninashvili to try and keep the ball in the field of play. And Ratu said, thanks, man. Tosa Viti Tosa. And also a tough win, says Bella. I like watching golf. It's very entertaining, says Mornay. Also, we have got there. Fiji never gave up, says Bella. Yeah, throughout that first half, it didn't look flash for the Fijians, but with the way that they've been able to fight back, still gives them a lot of hope going forward in this Rugby World Cup competition. Thanks, friend, for your commentary. Kudos to you. Here's Princess. Nicely taken in. Again, they're on the 22 for Fiji. 3.5 minutes remaining. Tavita Ikanaveri waiting patiently for the maul to start rolling, but that maul did not roll. Didn't have the tyres to keep moving forward. Tuisova, flat run from him. Now Tite Teller trying to sell the dummy. The Georgians are rushing up extremely quickly in their defensive line. I think that's making it hard for Fiji to find that little bit of extra space that they're after. Lavani Botia, nice inside ball off to Eliza Droa-Sisi. Still 3 minutes on the clock. Lamani, that's going to be surely an offside advantage. The man who was offside did make the tackle as well there for the Georgians. They do say play on. Tuisue, Another carry from him, Tete Tela on the short side. Now I see a knife for Levu. Just couldn't quite get that offload to Celestino Ravatamanda. Now Lamani off to Timo Maia-Navanua. Another big run from Samu Toaki. Hitting hard. I think you know, watching from Australia. Says Kalera. Now Timo Maia-Navanua having another carry there. Italy was destroyed by New Zealand. That was brutal. Says Zealand go, Fiji go. Says Rocco. And which player scored the first try? It was RYC and Naita Levu, the man who I predicted, had managed to get himself over the try line. Now back to the right-hand side once more. Box will destroy the All Blacks again in the final, says Gary. So you are saying the All Blacks will make the final. That's very generous of you, Gary. Now Timo Maia-Navanua, another carry. 2 minutes now on the clock. This has definitely helped secure the Fijians the win. It's just whether or not they can secure themselves that bonus point, which they would still need another try after this one. And Wallabies should have poisoned food like the Bok did. Okay, jokes this here, Michael. Only 100 seconds remaining round the side of the breakdown. Nice run from Penny Ravai. Now to Vida Ikanaveri. No penalty advantage against the Georgians as of yet. But they are sitting now 20 phases. Okay, Fiji take the drop kick. It has missed as well. You missed the kick. Today Taylor saying that went over. Carl Dixon says no, it didn't. That was really weird from the Fijians. Why would you take the drop kick in that case? They have decided to take the short 22 drop out. Georgia now charging for counter-attacking opportunity for them. Finding another offload into the hands of Morebadze. And Fiji, rather than starting this match or finishing this match with a ball and handle, though they have been able to get the turnover again from Timo Maia-Navanua. There's going to be an injury here for the Georgians as well. Will the Springboks beat France? I say no, says Rave. And thanks for the commentary, Kiwi Lad, says Tex. Right, there was foul play from a Fijian. If anyone goes to the bin here, they can thank Tite Tela for trying to go for a drop kick in a game that they didn't need one. Fiji 12, they might lose Tuisova. Head-on-head contact, it's going to be at least a yellow card. If Tite Tela has just lost them Tuisova for the playoff games, that is a game changer for Fiji. Now, of course, we can't completely blame him. Tuisova was the man who made the tackle, but it is going to be Tuisova now off the field for the 10 minutes, and now we have to wait eagerly to find out if that is going to be a red card for Tuisova or not. But for now, it will be remaining as a red. Tuisova might get a suspension. Stupid choice, says Moose. And also, Box will physically overpower France in the quarter, says Gary. Tuisova. They've got 8 minutes to decide whether or not that Tuisova yellow will be upgraded to a red. Now, we've only got 45 seconds remaining in this game. Okay, they're going to bring us the decision after the full-time whistle. We have got the game and World Cup over for Georgia. No coming back from this loss, says Victor. And also, like, how they overpowered Ireland, says Moose. And brutal display. Okay, Georgia taking on the 3 points here, as that would actually give them enough time to be able to get back into this game and win it if this kick goes over. And it has. So that is now going to mean that the score is 12 points to 17 with only about 10 seconds remaining. But the Fijians will be kicking off to Georgia. That decision from Tite Tela may not just cost them Tuisova. That might also cost them the game if Georgia can somehow score a try now. We have got there. I love your work, mate. Thank you, says Hexbuller. I appreciate you being here for the stream. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 36,000 subscribers, and we are getting closer and closer. So let's see how close we can get to it by the end of this live stream. Now, Tite Tela kicks it long, deep into Georgian territory. Matkava running it as hard as he can towards the Fijian, or towards their own 22-metre line, I should say. Now, Tapatsadze, he's been extremely quiet throughout this contest. And also, Tele had a massive brain fart, he certainly did. And we are about to find out whether or not it cost the Fijians the game. The pass does go backwards. Now number 15, once again charging forward, it was Moribadze. We've absolutely taken bribes and smoking pot. Rush defence there from Celestino Ravatamando. Offload on the inside for the Georgians. It's going to be a 2-on-1 down this bottom side. He's going for the kick in behind with the banana boot. Now, Druasisi kicks the ball dead, and that will be the end of the game. Fiji hang on, but they almost threw the game away. 17 points to 12. Druasisi may have just done his ankle trying to chase after that. He's got cramps. Are you really gulping that water, Hamish? How many leaders taken since today's Victor? I'd say we're probably up to about 2 and a bit leaders overall for these streets. And no, says Sir Mike on Fiji wins, says Bradley Slater. Come on, Fiji, says Ashin, and congratulations, Fiji, says Bella. And there's I'll go Georgia, says Sebastian. And also Viti Tosso. Fiji has to win this game, says Calera, and they have been able to do so. Georgia can be incredibly proud of themselves. They put on a big shift for this contest. My original score prediction for this game was 25 points to 22 in favour of the Fijians. I went a little bit too high with the score, but it certainly was a close game between these two teams. Good job, Amish, says Bruce. Thank you very much, mate. And press the like and subscribe button, people, says Stefania. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're currently only 180 away from that goal. Thanks, lad, says Wes. GS Amish, great commentary as usual. See you at the next game, says Gary Smith. And yeah, that was a bad decision, says Venom. Now, we will be staying on this live stream for just a little bit longer, ladies and gentlemen, because we will give you the information of whether Tuisova has been upgraded to a red card or not. Now, if he has, he will be a player missing for more than likely the rest of the Fijian games in this Rugby World Cup. All the way Fiji and Georgia struggles for Portugal away, says Blues. Nate, and congratulations, Fiji, says Lapi. Good game, see you in a few hours, says Peter Wild. Yeah, so the next game that is taking place, it will be kicking off in 1 hour and 20 minutes time. We are going to be starting that live stream. I believe it's 15 minutes before the start of the game. And hats out to Georgia. Fiji was surprised as hell. They didn't think Georgia would be able to match them physically. They were flabbergasted, says Caleb. And you did it, Fiji, says Ruben. And Vanaka Vitti, says Samisi. Good job, Fiji, says Manaini. And also, Australia team not going home. They fly into India, playing the Cricket World Cup, says Fleshin. Or sorry, says Rishin. And I definitely thought Georgia would win. Well done, Fiji, says Judy Marias. Yeah, for the Georgians, like I mentioned, they put in an absolutely massive effort in this game. 616 running meters. They made 199 tackles, but only missed 17. Now, in their first 100 tackles, they had only missed around 7. So, little bit more missed tackles in that second half, but still overall, a very good performance. Penalties conceded, 13 against them. That was hurting them near the end of the contest. And cool commentator, mate, says Calera. And also we have got there, Fiji took Georgia lightly, and it showed from the start, says Live. And also that tackle doesn't deserve a red. If it gets a red, and then I lose hope in World Rugby, says Caleb. And gotta love rugby, another great game of this World Cup. And thanks, Brim, for your great commentary. Appreciate you much. Vanaka, Vakalevu, God bless you much, says the Princess. And also Georgia doesn't have far to travel home, says Stahl there as well. And anyone else who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, we are back with plenty more games in the near future for this Rugby World Cup. We've got another game just around the corner between Scotland and Romania, and we will be covering the Fijian games all throughout this Rugby World Cup on the channel as well. Thank you, brother, for commentating of the games, says Damasi. No worries at all, and great one, Kiwi lads. Thanks for the commentary, says Joel there. But we will be sticking around for just that little bit longer to find out if Tuisova's red or his yellow will be the case in this game. So he did get the yellow. Initially, it was head-on-head contact. I'm hoping because of the change in direction of the Georgian runner, it may just stay as a yellow card rather than getting upgraded. But I wouldn't be surprised if they give it as a red. We've seen weirder decisions made for the Rugby World Cup. I'm just listening to the commentators at the moment. And Vanaka Kiwi lads, thanks for commentating, bro. All the best for the All Blacks, says Samisi. Just talking about Vinaya Habossi and his try being scored. Does Tuisova have a Rugby World Cup still? Accidental kick clash equals red card these days, says Moose. And also Fiji better up the levels against Portugal. Portugal is as good as Georgia, says Caleb. It's amazing how an American state almost beat Fiji, says a scene. And also we have got their, that was their plan, wearing them down to win the game. Well done, Fiji. And no HIA, says Kurt. That is very true. Player did stay down after getting hit, but then decided to get back up and continue. And also, we're going to no one cares about the NFL outside the US. And close game, congratulations, Fiji. It wasn't pretty, but got to give Georgia credit for their effort, says Bradley Slater. Yeah, they had to dig in deep here, Georgia, to have a chance of winning this contest. And at times, it looked like they were going to be able to get themselves that victory. But the Fijian bench is what changed the game for them. Vinay Habossi, Frank Lamani, Albert Tuisui, also Tavita Ikanaviri adding a little bit of stability when it came to that line out. I wouldn't be surprised if Tavita Ikanaviri is the starting man in the quarterfinals if the Fijians do make it there, which at the moment they do only need one more point to be able to do so. Georgia looked okay. Thought they looked a bit more comfortable against Fiji than we and Aussie did. Says Flesh. Yeah, in that first half, they really matched the Fijians well, working in the breakdown to try and keep that ball on their side, getting those turnovers. Vanaka Kiwi lad, so cool. Says Kalera. And there as well, in California or Texas would have done better than Georgia, says Asheen. Although the thing is, USA aren't in the World Cup, are they? So, slightly unfortunate for the US. They did lose to Chile in that two-match series. I think they also lost to... Who did they lose to in the repechage? They lost to Portugal. They also may have lost to either Kenya or the other side in that repechage. How long is the next game? Says Ric Flair, so it is going to be in 1 hour and 15 minutes time. And when was the red card? So it was a yellow card in the 79th minute for Tuisova. I haven't heard if it's been upgraded as of yet, though. Like I said, Georgia getting the point as well. And thanks, BG. Well done. I can now have my dinner. Babylon. Heartbeat now relaxed and back to normal again, says Joel. And they drew with Portugal. Don't see how you reward that, says Chuck T. And also Carl Smith. Where'd that go? Carl Smith, Fiji just needs a losing bonus point in their next game and Australia go home, says Moose. Wonderful commentating. Well done, says Dav Bad. Thank you very much. Georgia played well. They come well prepared to play for a win this round. Portugal would do the same. And they better not let Matavesi start the next game. Didn't flop the Fiji lineouts as soon as he came on. Whereas Matavesi lost 50% of the Fiji's lineouts with his poor throw-in, says Caleb. And that was actually the change that I wanted to see in the starting lineup. I think that was one of the only changes that I made in my forward pack for my prediction. I said that I would start Ikanaviri. And what's the next game? It is Scotland versus Romania. And can you show the outcome of all the games played today? I was working, didn't have a chance to check, says Andre, so I can't tell you them, but we will have the pop-up. That is going to be on the next live stream. So Argentina beat Chile, 59 points to 5, and then this is the second result that we have had. Have you ever thought of commentating golf? I've considered it, although golf's one of those ones that it's very tricky to commentate if you can't see it. Like, I would be able to see it, of course, but not be able to show you guys, sadly. Thanks so much. Love your commentary and insight of the game and the players. See you for the Scotland versus Romania game. Says Reshin. And USA is bad in rugby, as in every decision they make, says Stahl. And more money just means more corruption. And throw Matavesi out, put Ikanaviri first choice, says Timothy. Yep. And to be fair, I feel like Zariel Togiotama, he might not be a bad option for that quarterfinal either. I'd like to think by then Matavesi would start finding that form again, but it's very tricky. And also there's a big problem with weak, uneducated Fijian peoples. They always underestimating other people's look and strength. I remember people of the world, Fijians. Okay. And golf battle, anyone? Whoop y'all. Says Sir Michael, appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. H. Says Andre Vermeulen there. So I'm just going to quickly check the stats for this game. I think the yellow card of Tuisova has stayed as a yellow card. I haven't seen anything else mentioned about it. But then I haven't actually heard them say that it is staying as a yellow. So we will give you guys an update on that next live stream, which is just around the corner. We will be starting that one at, I'll just have a quick look. It's either 2:45 or 10:10. I think it's 2:45. And that one will be starting, yes it is. So 7:45. So about an hour's time is when that next live stream will be starting up. How's your commentary in Sevens this morning? We have done quite a few Sevens live streams in our time, and we will be covering the whole of the Sevens circuit this year for 2023-2024 season as well. So be sure to check that out. But anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button once again. If you do enjoy, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in 1 hour's time for Scotland versus Romania.